over the last 12 hours, viewers, we have seen some really intense debate. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi there walking into what could have easily passed for a gladiator's arena today, a day after Rahul Gandhi had raised temperatures in the House. Other Congress leaders were adding to the elevated temperatures by launching fiery attacks on the Prime Minister just before the Prime Minister entered, or as when he was actually entering. You had the usually combative Congress MP Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary holding forth. But when the Prime Minister stood up to speak, it soon became clear that he wasn't going to fan the flames. In his usual calm but emphatic style, he used a combination of wry humor and evocative dialogues, sometimes filmy dialogues, to launch an 85-minute blitz at the opposition. The PM repeatedly drove home the point that he was no entitled neta that had been built up by an ecosystem of media types writing phoning headlines. But in fact, he had slogged on the streets for 50 years to earn the Bharosa, as he called it, the trust of the people. The Prime Minister also said that the alleged litany of daily lies, innuendo, abuse won't pierce, as he called it, the Suraksha Kavach of trust that the people had lent him. Viewers, let's listen in to some of the statements that Prime Minister Modi made today in trying to combat what he called was the negativity of the opposition. Listen in, viewers.
मोदी पे भरोसा अखबार की सुर्खियों से पैदा नहीं हुआ है। मोदी पे ये भरोसा टीवी पर चमकते चेहरों से नहीं हुआ है। जीवन खपा दिया है, पल पल खपा दी है, देश के लोगों के लिए खपा दी है, देश के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए खपा दी है। क्या ये झूठे आरोप लगाने वालों पर मुफ्त राशन प्राप्त करने वाले मेरे देश के 80 करोड़ देशवासी क्या कभी उन पर भरोसा करेंगे क्या? गरीब से गरीब को भी जब राशन मिल जाता है, वो आपकी झूठी बातों पर, आपके गलत गलीच आरोपों पर कैसे भरोसा करेगा? कुछ लोग अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए बहुत कुछ तबाह करने पर लगे हुए हैं, अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए जी रहे हैं। मोदी तो 25 करोड़ देशवासियों के परिवार का सदस्य है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के आशीर्वाद, ये मेरा सबसे बड़ा सुरक्षा कवच है।
There you go, viewers. We're going to, of course, play out more excerpts, the best ones from his speech a little later on in the show. So be sure to sort of tune in and watch that. But let me tell you, many political observers are describing Modi's speech, viewers, as an informal report card of his last 8-9 years in office before the 2024 election, saying that the phrases that he has used, the colloquialisms that he's relied upon, and of course the general thrust of his speech is going to basically form the undercurrent of the speeches he is going to make on the stump in the months ahead. The opposition, however, viewers, was very quick to latch on to the fact that the Prime Minister did not in specific address any of the accusations that were leveled by Rahul Gandhi, the putative leader of the Congress party, at the Prime Minister, and what he called was the alleged nexus, what Rahul Gandhi called was the alleged nexus between the Prime Minister and Gautam Adani a nexus that had enriched Gautam Adani beyond his wildest dreams and reeked of a cronyism. This is what the opposition said, viewers. Listen in.
इंक्वायरी की बात नहीं हुई. अगर मित्र नहीं है तो ये कहते ठीक है मैं इंक्वायरी करा देता हूँ. इंक्वायरी की बात नहीं हुई. डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री है, वहां पे शेल कंपनीज हैं, बेनामी पैसा घूम रहा है, उसके बारे में प्रधानमंत्री ने कुछ नहीं कहा. तो मतलब क्लियर है कि प्रधानमंत्री उनकी रक्षा कर रहे हैं, उनको.
Prime Minister just indulged in a self-congratulatory speech and did not address the issues we have raised. It's very evident from his speech. He skirted around it and just indulged in self-congratulatory praise.
मैं सिर्फ ये कहूँगा, प्रधानमंत्री ने तो बहुत अच्छी भाषण दी थी, लेकिन जो भी प्रश्न पूछा गया था पार्लियामेंट के विपक्ष की तरफ से, कोई भी प्रश्न का जवाब नहीं दिया.
The elephant in the room was not addressed by the government. I think that says it all. I think it's very obvious that what is in the minds of the people and in the minds of every member of the House was not addressed.
The BJP, of course, believes that Rahul Gandhi or the other opposition leaders, their attack on the alleged nexus between Prime Minister Modi and Adani don't deserve a response, as they are first not supported by proof and second are barefaced lies. In fact, some of the comments, the remarks, the observations made by Rahul Gandhi were expunged from the record in the House after BJP MPs complained that Rahul Gandhi did not support any of his accusations with fact. Now, viewers, in fact, the BJP alluded also to an interview on Times Now that quoted the promoter of GVK denying Rahul Gandhi's main charge that the promoter of GVK was forced to sell his stake in the Mumbai airport to Adani at the behest of the Modi government. Here's the GVK promoter taking on Rahul Gandhi. Listen to Rahul Gandhi's charge and the GVK promoter's response.
India's most strategic, profitable airport, Mumbai airport, was taken away by GVK, hijacked by using the agencies. CBI, ED का प्रयोग कर GVK पर दबाव डालकर हिंदुस्तान की सरकार ने उस एयरपोर्ट को अदानी जी के हाथों में कर दिया.
So as far as GVK is concerned, there was absolutely no pressure on our side, either through Gautam Adani or any other agency, for us to sell the airport. We sold the airport due to our own commercial interests and on our own accord.
That was, of course, GVK Vice Chairman speaking to Times Now exclusively, viewers, clarifying that. Of course, that doesn't end that entire saga. That's also being looked into. But viewers, the Prime Minister believes, and he said so, that he has earned Bharat's Bharosa because he has worked hard for the public's welfare. Do his claims add up? Let's get you some basic statistics. These are easily available to you from various reports that have been published by the concerned ministries. The Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, 2.31 crore houses have been built, 31% allocated to 25 minority-dominated areas. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, over 8 crore beneficiaries, 33% of beneficiaries were minorities. Also, a large number of them are concentrated in the most electorally significant states in the Hindi belt. Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, 11.78 crores total beneficiaries. So that's a wide cover, viewers. 37% from minority communities. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, 34.42 crore beneficiaries, 37% from minority communities. And once again, the spread is concentrated greatly also in the Hindi belt. The Prime Minister has declared that Bharat has trusted him, giving him an impregnable Suraksha Kavach or a security shield. But can that be borne out by facts? Well, let's show you how the footprint of the Bharatiya Janata Party has been expanding. And this is the 2014 map where the NDA had a presence across 11 states. And now let's put them all together if we can. That's 2014, viewers. Let's go on to the next 2016. The NDA grows to have a footprint in 13 states, so 2 more added to the kitty. And Now, of course, it's 15 states. So from 11 to 15 states, the NDA, the saffron bands of the NDA spreading, that's really in one shot the expanding national footprint of the BJP. And it's come at the expense of not just the Congress, but also of other parties. The Prime Minister, of course, also said that the opposition has been punished for the lies it has spewed on issues that they took to the public. Here are some of the instances when the opposition was overruled by courts or other autonomous institutions, leading the public to plausibly distance themselves from the government. Viewers, the Congress said on the Rafale that Chaukidar chor hai, chori for Ambani, that the Prime Minister pocketed 30,000 crores and gave it to Ambani. But of course, the Supreme Court said that no reason to doubt the decision-making process, there is no scam here, etc. The Congress on demonetization, demo was a fraud on the people, said the Congress, and it fought many elections on this. The 23 Supreme Court verdict, with one dissenting judgment, said reasonable nexus with the aim to end black money. So actually upheld this particular policy. Congress on EVMs, for example. EVM is the Modi voting machine. In 2019, the Supreme Court verdict put paid to this nonsense to seek 100% voter paper trail. Also, the Election Commission invited all the political parties to test the EVMs. Most of them didn't show up. Then there was the judge-lawyer murder or suggested murder. It wasn't really. The circumstances of death are suspicious. But the 2018 Supreme Court verdict said the death was natural, no merit for the SIT probe. Of course, this all was in connection with the Gujarat riot clean chits to Amit Shah. And sticking with the 2002 Gujarat riots, Maut Ka Saudagar, several other jabs, accusations made against Modi over the years. But in 2022, the Supreme Court upheld the SIT's clean chit to the then Chief Minister Modi, absolving him of any links. Now, viewers, it's not as if this government has done only wonders. There have, of course, been issues, and let me just quickly run you through the problems that somehow haven't singed the Modi government, even though they did affect and dent the people. By the end of 2021, India had about 4.8 lakh deaths due to COVID. This particular number didn't haunt the Prime Minister at all in any which way. His electoral prospects, or his party's electoral prospects, to be more specific, in different other countries, it did have a significant impact, especially in the United States, on electoral outcomes. Those numbers there in those countries. In 2016-17, India's unemployment shot up from 2.2 to 6.1%, a 40-year high. This, remember, was after demonetization, but the NDA came back with even a bigger majority. We'll try and ask those questions. In 2017, the economic growth was 6.7%. In 2018, it was 6.45%. 2019, it fell to 3.74%. And this was before COVID crisis kicked in. So despite the economy shrinking, it didn't really affect the NDA's prospects. Now, why? Why is this the case? In May 2022, India's inflation hit a 8-year high of 7.79%, viewers. And also, let's not forget that the BJP had prematurely declared victory over COVID by the end of 2020 before the Delta wave, the second wave. So all of these factors have somehow not hurt Modi. And is it because the people still believe that head and shoulders above others, he's the best man for the job? And let's open this up. And let me begin first with Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, look, we've been very objective here. We put out both sides of the story. The BJP and the NDA's report card, as they ascribe to themselves the achievements and also, of course, the lacunas there. But somehow, despite these being fairly big problems, hasn't dented the Modi government. In fact, it's the opposition that has got weaker. Now, I want to ask you a very specific question. Is this because, Mr. Jha, the opposition has not been able to sell itself as a credible alternative for a variety of factors? That must be the reason, isn't it?
Well, Rahul, you could be right. Let me be very frank with you. I have done a detailed piece on the entire Adani imbroglio, if you can use that term. And I put out some facts in the public domain, and I think nothing is new really, but I've given it certain fundamental questions that as citizens we need to answer. But you're absolutely right. I believe if Mr. Narendra Modi and the BJP win in 2024, but that's what India wants. And it will be, in my opinion, it will be the failure of the opposition if they cannot at this point tell the people of India that there is brazen crony capitalism, which by the way is a more softer term for what I would call as wholesale corporate malfeasance and corruption, which can only happen through political patronage. Mr. Modi is the target. Now let's call a spade here. The accusation is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is instrumental in the growth of the business empire of Gautam Adani. Gautam Adani is a businessman. He has every right, fundamental right to find a way to grow his empire. The truth is, as a politician and as a Prime Minister of this country, does Mr. Modi have the luxury to really allow public assets, because they belong to Abhijit, they belong to you, they belong to me, they belong to Riju, they belong to Aprajita, and to the millions of viewers watching the program. It is the responsibility of the Prime Minister to ensure that no public asset is given to any industrialist without ensuring that our interests are protected. If Mr. Modi wins despite all this, frankly speaking, I will accept the verdict. But I will say it will be a pathetic commentary on the opposition. Therefore, I'm glad that Rahul Gandhi yesterday called a spade a spade. Rahul, since I'm pretty much aware of this entire case from the beginning to the end, let me tell you, you are right in playing the video of Mr. Reddy of the GVK who came and said today that, we are not at all upset. But let me tell you the truth. We all are adults. We all know today the pressures under which an industrialist will speak. I can tell you right now that the GVK group was given to the Adani group within weeks and a month of those raids, and the GVK group got nothing. The Adani group got the Mumbai airport and the Navi Mumbai airport of 227 acres for just retiring the debt of this group.
Okay.
Effectively, the GVK group sold out for free. So these are big issues here for India. I think it's a corruption charge. It's a serious issue, and Mr. Modi ducked it today.
Okay, quick counter question, because this is what many people will factually point out. So I would like your clarification on this. You talk about this deal, but look, clearances have to be sought for any such deal, any such change of hands, going by what Rahul Gandhi has said, hijack of this Mumbai airport from GVK. Now, clearances have to be sought from the center, yes, one. Two, state government, which was the Aghadi government, and also SIDCO, which is governed by the state government of Maharashtra. So, two of the three permissions came from regulatory authorities that were under the Congress. How do you explain this?
Well, let me tell you how straightforward it is, Rahul. I'm the businessman. I happen to be, in this case now, not Sanjay Jha, but Sanjay Reddy. Now, I am facing a threat of CBI and ED that tells me that I've committed a financial fraud of 705 crores. We all know that if you fall foul of this government, and I'll be honest enough to say most political parties in this country have had a vindictive outlook towards people whom they are not comfortable with, or they intend to buttress an alternative candidate. So here in this case, if I am today fearful that I could be put in jail on these allegations, I will panic. I
agree with you. All governments use different techniques to try and wrest, as you're saying, some sort of advantages. But you didn't answer my question. I'm specifically talking about the Mumbai airport, the three clearances required. One came from the center. Fair enough. Yeah. You're saying that, look, GVK was being arm twisted, etc. But certainly that couldn't have been true of the Aghadi government, supported by the Congress, the NCP, and of course led by the Shiv Sena.
Well, the simple answer to that, Rahul, is this. No other political party has access to what are the documents under which... One minute. No, just hear me out. But as a businessman, supposing you're the chief minister, and I'm Sanjay Reddy, and I decide to say I'm selling out. You heard Mr. Reddy today you saw the video, he's given an interview to your channel. He says, nobody forced me. You see, when you are under this kind of pressure, nobody is going to take on the government. But I do believe that tomorrow, if Mr. Modi's government loses in 2024, you'll see the can of worms out in the open. Trust me, Mr. Reddy will be amongst the first to hold a press conference probably. So the truth is that at that point, if Mr. Reddy sold out and he says, I'm giving my shares of 74% to Adani Group, the matter is closed.
Okay.
What can the government do?
Well, just for the record, GVK Group has come out and said that he will assure that we will conclude, that Adani is assured that he will conclude the entire transaction in 1 month, which was very, very important for us. So from that perspective, whatever he did was in the interest of the company and the lenders who we had to repay, and therefore we had to close the transaction with Adani because we didn't see any light of day with the other investors. This is what he has said on record, viewers. Now we can have differences of opinion. Sanjay Jha will say that this was a statement that was sort of arm twisted out of him. Aparijita Sarangi, the issues raised by Rahul Gandhi on Adani specifically did not figure. Why is this?
A very good evening.
Good evening.
Now, at the outset, let me remind all of you that we were in Lok Sabha to discuss about the presidential address. Motion of thanks was going on, and in fact, every speaker had been talking about all the points that had been raised in the presidential address. But when Rahul Gandhi ji stood up, he talked about one particular person and one particular business organization, nothing more, nothing less. He did not touch upon the points that were there in the presidential address. So I think this is one thing which we must know very well. Number two, as far as not responding is concerned, I can only say that Honorable Prime Minister today gave a befitting reply to these baseless and false allegations leveled by Rahul Gandhi. And in fact, in a way, he has silenced the critics, and he always does, and he has again struck a wonderful chord with 140 crore Indians. Now see, here is a Prime Minister who walks the talk. He talked about his Parivrajak days, and he is listened to, and he has this kind of stature in the country and is accepted by all because of his commitment to the nation's cause and because of his hard work and what he calls parakram. So
no, but can I just quickly come in here? Ms. Sarangi, that is all
accountable to the people of the country, and he gave a report card to the country.
Yeah, he gave a report card, but certainly the issues raised. Now I'm only asking you, yes, fair enough, Rahul Gandhi used this opportunity, the motion of thanks, to focus on Adani, etc. But surely the Prime Minister made transparency in government his leitmotiv. He said, na khaunga, na khane dunga. Surely he could have perhaps either disregarded in one line or dismissed in one line with a fact check, etc. of Mr. Gandhi's accusations, but he chose not to. In fact, he did indirectly respond, talking about one particular charge that Mr. Rahul Gandhi had made about foreign governments being influenced by the NDA to award contracts to Mr. Adani. He did mention that, but he didn't say it in so many words. He alluded to it. Why couldn't he have said in so many words that Rahul Gandhi was wrong for A, B, and C or D reason when it came to the Adani, so-called Adani Prime Minister nexus that is being alleged?
See, do you think the utterances of Rahul Gandhi deserved a response from the Prime Minister? A couple of days back, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman had said everything that had to be said. She said SEBI was investigating into the matter. SEBI is a regulator and SEBI is supposed to look into this. SEBI is on the job. It will come out with a comprehensive report, and I'm sure the entire nation would know. This is one part. And number two, she said, LIC and SPI heads have already come out into the open and given their statements. So I think let the organizations, let the concerned authorities do their job, and whatever is wrong and whatever is right is right. I don't think the false allegations leveled by Rahul Gandhi and the Congress deserved a response, and that is why Prime Minister did not respond. But I can only say that, he talked of compulsive criticism. You remember, compulsive critics. It has become a fashion nowadays, perhaps to increase their own TRPs, to kind of question the policy and intention of Honorable Prime Minister. And I think the kind of work he has been doing for the country, I think honesty and integrity of the Prime Minister.
So you're saying that the people are beginning to see
I think
through.
He talks of Lokaniti, he talks of Lok Seva.
Okay, so you're saying that people do not appreciate negativity for the sake of negativity or opposition for the sake of opposition. Before I bring in the editor of ANI, I want to bring in Riju Datta. Riju Datta, I'm asking you this because there have been several instances of opposition parties questioning what have later turned out to be vast exaggerations. I'm not saying it, and I've read out a whole bunch of instances where they have talked about Chaukidar Chor, this, that, taken it to the public, demo of fraud on the people, and EVMs have been rigged, etc. And these are easily disprovable, actually. So, are you overdoing this in some ways? And maybe, you know, that aphorism, when you cry wolf too often, people then don't sort of react. Maybe that's what's happening. Is that true? Because there are failures. It's not as if the last 8 years have been, you know, absolute Amrit Kal. A lot of things have been done, but there are also some glaring failures, and people are not seeing you as credible enunciators of these failures. Maybe you just cry wolf too often.
Rahul, thank you for asking this good question. First, I want to tell the Honorable MP that, you know, any political party MP asks a question, the government is supposed to answer that. That is why the parliament is there. It is for the people of this country to know and have a debate, and it's in front of the people where the government is actually answerable, not on street corners. That's number one point. Number two, let's go by facts. Let's not go into whataboutery. The fact is, Adani Group is a huge institution. We have nothing against the Adani Group personally, nor against any entrepreneurs of this country, but based on a report of a US firm, $100 billion were wiped out from his total account in 7 days, where common people's money from LIC and SBI tuning to almost 60,000 crores were invested. Now, as Trinamool Congress, we do not want disruption. We want a debate. We do not want to talk about any nexus or whatever. What we want, we simply want a Supreme Court monitored judicial inquiry into this Adani Gate. Let there be a probe, an investigation, and if it comes out clean, well and fine. My question is this: why is BJP and Prime Minister Modi himself fanning the opposition fire? If you have nothing to hide, if you are not scared of anything, order the probe, khatam karo, hum log ko bolne ka hi koi jagah nahi rahega fir. You finish the topic then and there.
Okay.
But
why has a probe not been ordered? Aparijita
some parties are asking for JPC. When we are, can I please finish?
Yeah.
Can I please finish, Rahul?
Yeah.
Can I please finish?
Of course.
Please,
Go ahead.
Give me 30 more seconds.
Yes, Doctor.
My question is, some parties are asking for JPC. We are asking for a Supreme Court monitored probe. As long as there is an investigation on this, the opposition have nothing else to ask for.
Okay.
So the Prime Minister does it, everybody ends. And you know, on this incident, you know, whatever is happening inside the parliament, it reminds me of a part of a speech made by one of the most able parliamentarians in the history of India, late Srimati Sushma Swaraj ji. And a couple of lines I'm just quoting on your channel, which she said on the floor of the parliament. तू इधर उधर की बात ना कर, ये बता काफला क्यों लूटा, मुझे रहजनों से गिला नहीं, तेरी रहबरी का सवाल है. And this is her words, which is very apt today. Order the investigation, end of. Finished.
Okay, and it's a simple demand, Ms. Sarangi, very straightforward. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Riju Datta ji has, I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Riju ji talked of a share. I can also give a share. लड़ा होगा अकेला सारी रात अंधेरों से सूरज, तब जाकर कहीं यह सुहानी प्रभात हो रही है. I think there is mourning in the country because of Prime Minister Modi and the kind of work that he has been doing. Now here, the question is why this JPC has not been allowed and no discussion in the Lok Sabha taken place. Now there are two reasons for it. Number one, no documentary evidence has been given by Rahul Gandhi. In fact, I am a member of the Lok Sabha and I was sitting there when we talked of authentication. We wanted him to authenticate. What is the proof? Now, without proof, if anybody can say anything about anything, I don't think the Prime Minister of the country should come out and respond. This is one. Number two, as I told you earlier, I reiterate, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman has already said, SEBI is probing into the matter.
Okay.
SEBI is the regulator and the government is allowing all these organizations are free hand. So I think let them do their work.
Okay,
let them come out with a report
Riju
and
Datta
then we
will
can
say
debate on
that
this.
all authorities are imprisoned, are shackled. So they want independent.
No, I will not say that. I will not say
Okay.
that. Can I make one valid point?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Rahul, I will not say that. Can I make one point?
Yes, doctor.
10 seconds?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yeah.
There was an article, Madam MP Sarangi ji, there was an article on Economic Times on 12th October 2022 that Sri Gautam Adani ji, for whatever reason, I don't know, I don't want to comment on that, but Sri Gautam Adani ji in 4 weeks met SBI chief Madhavi Puri Buch. And pardon my pronunciation, but I'm just saying this is an article which came out in October 12, 2022 that this happened. I don't know for what reason. So I am not going into who's fair, who's unfair. It, as the Prime Minister of India, as the Vishwaguru, as the Prime Minister of the largest democracy, order a Supreme Court monitored probe. Forget the institute, the independent agencies also. Supreme Court monitored probe and take all hands off it. Nobody can say a word for you again.
Okay,
just
I'm
order
sure,
that. Finished. End of the matter.
I'm
Why are
sure,
you not approving that? If I want to just add here, if I just want to add here one thing, Rahul, if today Aparajita ji or Pradhan Mantri ji says I want to order an ED or CBI probe on Riju Datta, the national spokesperson of Trinamool Congress, I will say very well do it because I have nothing to hide. अगर मैं गलत नहीं हूं तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन से क्यों डरूंगा?
Okay,
this is my question. This is Trinamool's question.
So that's that question.
Simple.
Let me bring in the editor and I began with a specific question. There might be areas of concern where there are palpable shortcomings, but they don't seem to dent the electoral prospects. Smita Prakash of either the Prime Minister or the BJP. In fact, his popularity keeps surging, and there's been a survey very lately that also seems to suggest that he is outperforming other world leaders on popularity indexes, etc. Now, the reason cited for the opposition's failure is, as the Prime Minister has said, that their credentials aren't earned but burnished actually by an ecosystem of fawning headline writers. Now, is that really what's happening? Are they just being dressed up, made to look credible? And they're actually not. I really want to get to the meat of the issue. We are not short of issues with which you can, pin down the government, but they don't seem to stick.
Okay.
What's happening?
Yeah, I'll get to the ecosystem bit, but before that, you mentioned about why didn't he fact check Rahul Gandhi? I think you mentioned that.
Yeah.
The thing is that's not been Mr. Modi's style as a Prime Minister. He will leave that to ministers or spokespersons to do it, because after all, if you objectively see it, who is Rahul Gandhi? He's just one MP from Wayanad. That's it. He's not the opposition leader, and nor is the Congress the principal opposition party. So it is just because it's there and it's Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. But even whether it was Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary or whether it was Rahul Gandhi's speech, they did not authenticate, as Aparajita ji pointed out. The opposition was obviously not happy with what Mr. Modi said, because he didn't oblige them. He didn't even mention Adani. So they want Adani. They were like, okay, ye humne allegation kiya, you say this. So the Prime Minister said, I'm not going to do it. He said gali and galich. This is what he said. You can keep doing that, but this is not how I'm going to respond. You have kept doing this all along, and it hasn't bothered him. He says he talked about the people's love, which he said is like a kavach, which you mentioned earlier, that your words are not going to pierce because your words are not authentic. They're just charges. They're the allegations which are not substantiated by facts. So this is what he talked about, and with great deal of drama he talked about this Harvard study and things like that, and how inconsequential the Congress is. Now, when you talked about the ecosystem, Rahul, I think what he was trying to say at that time when he talked about the headlines and the chamakte hue chehre on television is that even though the Congress, he says, is irrelevant today, when you actually see it's just 2 states in the country, 2.5 or whatever, in the country. In spite of that, the amount of space that they occupy as far as newspapers and television channels are concerned, that goes to show that there is an ecosystem which loves them, which despite the fact that they are irrelevant, according to him, that despite the fact that they are irrelevant, managed to have this ecosystem still going on. Today he's even said, I think he quoted Dushant Kumar when he said, तुम्हारे पाँव के नीचे कोई जमीन नहीं, लेकिन कमाल है कि तुम्हें इस बात का यकीन नहीं. I'm not quoting exactly, I'm not exactly sure, but that's what he was trying to say. He quoted that to say that the Congress lives in this ecosystem, which believes that it is it's going to form a government tomorrow.
Well,
how do you judge it?
Let me ask you this. Smita Prakash,
people's love by electoral process.
2 BJP MPs were left standing, in the 80s. That didn't mean that the BJP was consigned to the margins and didn't deserve an answer in the House. I'm just saying. So, I mean, when you look at the past, I mean, the AAP has 3 states, but 0 MPs in the Lok Sabha as of today. Could you explain this? Yeah.
What she said was ridiculous, I thought.
No, I mean, that's her view.
Yes, agreed. That even if you have one seat, even if you have one seat in parliament and you ask a question, you deserve to be answered. All I'm saying is, I'm not making a judgment. What I'm saying is that this is how the BJP reacts and this is how Prime Minister Modi has been functioning.
So
whether as Chief Minister of Gujarat or whether as Prime Minister. This is the new norm, this is the new. Whether that is acceptable or not to the Congress is between them to judge within the parliament or within parliament.
So they don't deserve a response because they have an overinflated sense of self, which has been cultivated not because of public support as Mr. Modi enjoys, but because of the support of an ecosystem, and therefore the Congress is really irrelevant to the BJP scheme of things or the Prime Minister's scheme of things. Abhijit Iyer Mitra.
There was a point-by-point response that was given. Let's not forget that. That was given by Dr. Nishkant Dubey yesterday. And remember, he's the same age as Rahul Gandhi. And he, like Rahul Gandhi, is an MP. So he's at the same level as Rahul Gandhi. Because, Rahul Gandhi isn't the head of a political party. He's just one ordinary MP from one ordinary constituency. And there was an ordinary MP who gave the response to him. Very detailed response. I did find some things missing in that response, but that's a different matter, specifically with regards to the brother investing in the company. Was it a full response? Of course not, but there was a point-by-point response. Second, this isn't Rahul Gandhi is not Mr. Modi's equal. Let's remember that. So Mr. Modi does not have to respond to him, but there is a government response required, which was given by an MP in question. Second, why has there been no investigation? This is a very important point. My own conversations with folks in the BJP have yielded 2 results. I'm not very happy with them. 1 second, Sanjay, please let me finish. Just give me about 2 minutes. One is that they believe, when they ordered that sort of investigation into the farm laws, you remember, the report was given by Dr. Ashok Gulati. What did the Supreme Court do? They squatted on it for 9 months, did diddly squat about it, and ultimately the government had to withdraw the laws. So they believe there is a lot of judicial politics at play in this. Second, they're very cautious. They claim, I'm not saying this, they claim they're very cautious about unknown foreign entities making accusations resulting in investigations in India. I don't accept that explanation. But I do have a counter question. What prevents the opposition from going to the Supreme Court and demanding that an investigation be opened into this? Because if Rahul has the courage of his convictions, he should go to court, right? So there is that to be looked at as well. Why aren't they going to court?
In Pegasus, they did.
Yes.
And in Judge Loya's case, Tehseen Poonawala, who usually appears on our channel, was one of the litigants. There are several other instances. So, Ashutosh ji, can you explain? Fair enough. You want answers. The country is breathlessly waiting for answers. A certain report, forget the antecedents of this company for a moment. If you believe a particular journalist who is part of the ecosystem. He went looking for it at the banks of the Hindon River. Whether that was laughable or not, immaterial. Ashutosh ji, the fact of the matter is that if it matters so much, move the Supreme Court, get the Supreme Court to look into this issue.
Rahul, without being disrespectful to the Prime Minister, and I have highest respect because he is our Prime Minister, today I would like to say that when I was watching the Prime Minister, and I thought that the lion will roar today. Unfortunately, he was whining. That's the sad part of the entire debate today. And why I'm saying so? Sanjay Jha is saying, Riju Datta is saying, others are saying the Prime Minister did not reply. I heard every bit of what the Prime Minister said. Prime Minister from the beginning to the end was trying to answer or trying to rebut what Rahul Gandhi had said. It is very rare that he did not take Rahul Gandhi's name. Normally he doesn't take. He did not take Adani's name. Normally he doesn't take. But he was the whole speech, if you see carefully, he was trying to answer Rahul Gandhi. He was so hurt. And he said, Jhoot aur gande aaropon. Who has accused him? Was there any other accusation than Adani's accusation by Rahul Gandhi? Or Mallikarjun Kharge in Rajya Sabha? What other accusation was there? So who was saying, ye nirasha se bhare hue log, galiyon ke shastra? Why he was using these words? Why he had gone back in time and said 2004 to 2014 was a lost decade. I'm not judging his wisdom, that how he, because he being a leader in other political party, obviously he will judge what the Manmohan Singh government did in 2004 to 2014. That's a different subject altogether. But the fact of the matter is, I had never seen Prime Minister being so hurt, so wounded. But instead of roaring, he was whining. And that's the sad part of it. I think as a Prime Minister, he's the leader of the House. As a leader of the House, it's a parliamentary democracy. He is accountable to the Parliament. And if he's accountable to the Parliament, if there is a question, he should answer that question. He did not answer that question directly, but indirectly he did answer. Second point which I want to make it, because BJP believes in Ram, in Maryada Purushottam Ram. And in Maryada Purushottam Ram teaches us that if there is an accusation, whether this is false or this is true, the Ram had asked Sita to give Agni Pariksha. If there is an accusation directly on the Prime Minister, he should go through that Agni Pariksha. If he believes in Ram, if he believes in the ideology of Ram.
And in that case, it was not a very significant individual who called Sita's character into question. That's what you're trying to say. So anyone, even the most ordinary, that's what you're saying.
If you believe in Maryada Purushottam Ram,
okay, fair enough. Let me bring in the BJP MP to respond to you.
If you believe in Ramayana, if you believe in Ram Mandir,
it would have helped, said Ashutosh, had he taken Adani's name, Rahul Gandhi's name, and said whatever he said, framing it in very direct terms. Aparajita Sarangi.
I fail to understand why Prime Minister Modi was expected to roar today. See, Prime Minister Sahab has a great connection with the people of the country, and I think his samvad is very well understood by the people. Of course, anybody who works day in and day out for the nation, who has given the entire life to the nation, who has a sense of conviction, who is willing to give a report card to the people, and who is very much accountable to the electorate, would feel hurt. When he talked about his Parivrajak days, and when he said that he was moving from village to village and he understood the nerve of the country, I think here was a man who was speaking with all conviction at his command, because he knows the country. He knows the pulse of the nation, and that is why he was hurt. And I think it was not whining. He was speaking from his heart. He always does. But today I think all of us felt that, you know,
Okay, let
he
me bring
has
in-
felt
let me
hurt.
bring in a long-term
And this
political
was not
observer,
the way,
Smita
Rahul
Prakash. Smita
Gandhi
Prakash,
spoke about the Prime Minister.
had
I
he
think
roared,
it was absolutely
had he been
not right.
too belligerent, people would have said, doth protest too much. How does he balance this? I mean, it's a tonality now that we've come down to in this particular debate.
Well, his speech had everything. It had the parakram that they're talking about. It had the wit and humor. It had the hurt, ruler who talked about how he has love from his people. So he brought in almost everything.
Okay.
But I think more interestingly, it is quite clear that whatever he says now, the Congress is going to make the BJP is a government that promotes the rule of oligarchy as its slogan, as its
So you're saying,
leitmotif
so you're
for the
saying
2023 elections
Adani
and
is a Rafale of
2024 general
2024.
election.
So you're saying Adani is a Rafale of 2024, and if the BJP
Yes.
perceives it as such, and obviously engages the Congress, and the Congress cannot come up with facts, you might have the same results as 2019. That's what you're trying to tell me. Okay, well, it's an interesting one, viewers. Is Adani the Rafale of 2024? And like the
Can I ask a question?
Rafale, in a sense of speaking, will the Adani attack also end up nowhere? Viewers, let's listen into the Prime Minister, and you can judge whether he was whining or he was roaring or he was speaking as an individual who was conversing really with constituents. That's up to you. Listen in. These are very interesting moments from the House today.
मैं देख रहा था कल कुछ लोगों के भाषण के बाद पूरा इकोसिस्टम समर्थक उछल रहे थे और खुश होकर के कहने लगे ये हुई है।
मैं अंतिम बार बोल रहा हूँ।
पूरा इकोसिस्टम उछल रहा था और कुछ लोग तो खुश होकर के कह रहे थे ये हुई ना बात, बड़ा शायद नींद भी अच्छी आई होगी, शायद आज उठ भी नहीं पाए होंगे। और ऐसे लोगों के लिए कहा गया है ये कह करके हम कह कर हम दिल को बहला रहे हैं, ये कह के हम दिल को बहला रहे हैं। वो अब चल चुके हैं, वो अब चल चुके हैं, वो अब आ रहे हैं। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, जब राष्ट्रपति जी का भाषण हो रहा था कुछ लोग कन्नी भी काट गए और एक बड़े नेता महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी का अपमान भी कर चुके हैं। जनजातीय समुदाय के प्रति प्लीज नफरत भी दिखाई दी है, प्लीज। और हमारे जनजातीय समाज के प्रति उनकी सोच क्या है, लेकिन जब इस प्रकार की बातें टीवी के सामने कही गई तो भीतर पड़ा हुआ जो नफरत का भाव था, जो सच, वो बाहर आके ही रह गया। आज भारत को विश्व के समृद्ध देश ऐसे G20 समूह की अध्यक्षता का अवसर भी मिला। ये देश के लिए गर्व की बात है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के लिए गौरव की बात है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है, पहले मुझे नहीं लगता था, लेकिन अभी लग रहा है शायद इससे भी कुछ लोगों को दुख हो रहा है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों में किसी को दुख नहीं हो सकता है। वो आत्मनिरीक्षण करे वो कौन लोग हैं जिसको इसका भी दुख हो रहा है। मोदी पे भरोसा अखबार की सुर्खियों से पैदा नहीं हुआ है। मोदी पे ये भरोसा टीवी पर चमकते चेहरों से नहीं हुआ है। जीवन खपा दिया है, पल पल खपा दी है, देश के लोगों के लिए खपा दी है, देश के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए खपा दी है। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, जो देशवासियों का मोदी पर भरोसा है, ये इनकी समझ के दायरे से बाहर है। झूठे आरोप लगाने वालों पर, मुफ्त राशन प्राप्त करने वाले मेरे देश के 80 करोड़ देशवासी क्या कभी उन पर भरोसा करेंगे क्या? आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड देश भर में कहीं पर भी गरीब से गरीब को भी जब राशन मिल जाता है, वो आपकी झूठी बातों पर, आपके गलत गलीच आरोपों पर कैसे भरोसा करेगा? कुछ लोग अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए बहुत कुछ तबाह करने पर लगे हुए हैं, अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए जी रहे हैं। मोदी तो 25 करोड़ देशवासियों के परिवार का सदस्य है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के आशीर्वाद, ये मेरा सबसे बड़ा सुरक्षा कवच है। हर सोच में आशा ही आशा नजर आ रही है। एक विश्वास से भरा हुआ देश है, लेकिन यहां काका हाथरसी ने एक बड़ी मजेदार बात कही थी। आगा पीछा देखकर, आगा पीछा देखकर क्यों होते गमगीन, जैसी जिसकी भावना वैसा दिखे सिंह। पिछले 10 साल में 2014 के पहले 2004 से 14 भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था खस्ता हाल हो गई। निराशा नहीं होगी तो क्या होगा? 10 साल में महंगाई डबल डिजिट रही, महंगाई डबल डिजिट रही, और इसलिए कुछ अगर अच्छा होता है तो निराशा और उभर करके आती है। इंफॉर्मेशन का युग बड़ी तेजी से बढ़ रहा था, उछल रहा था। उसी समय ये 2G में फंसे रहे। जब सिविल न्यूक्लियर डील की चर्चा थी, तब ये कैश फॉर वॉट में फंसे रहे। 2010 में कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स हुए और CWG घोटाले में पूरा देश दुनिया में बदनाम हो गया। कांग्रेस ने कहा था कि भारत की बर्बादी पर हार्वर्ड में केस स्टडी होगी, ऐसा कहा था। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, बीते वर्षों में हार्वर्ड में एक बहुत बढ़िया स्टडी हुई है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्टडी हुई है, और उस स्टडी है, उसका टॉपिक क्या था मैं जरूर सदन को बताना चाहूंगा, और ये स्टडी हो चुकी है। स्टडी है द राइज एंड डिक्लाइन ऑफ इंडिया कांग्रेस पार्टी। दुष्यंत कुमार ने जो कहा है बहुत फिट बैठता है। तुम्हारे पांव के नीचे कोई जमीन नहीं। कमाल ये है कि फिर भी तुम्हें यकीन नहीं। ये लोग बिना सर पैर की बातें करने के आदी होने के कारण उनको ये भी याद नहीं रहता है कि वो खुद का कितना कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन कहते रहे। कभी एक बात, कभी दूसरी बात, कभी एक तरफ, कभी दूसरी तरफ।
110 mm एक्स्ट्रा, लंबा व्हील बेस, सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा जगह। यह है कहानी BMW 3GL की। नमस्ते टाइम्स ड्राइव फैमिली, आई एम क्रांति संभव। वेलकम टू द फर्स्ट ड्राइव रिव्यू ऑफ BMW 3 सीरीज GL यानी ग्रैंड लिमोजीन, जो ऑब्वियसली रेगुलर 3 सीरीज से ज्यादा लंबी है। व्हील बेस के हिसाब से कुछ एक चेंजेस इसमें हुए हैं, तो इस वजह से ये हम वीडियो कर रहे हैं उन चेंजेस के बारे में बताने के लिए, और ये भी जानने के लिए कि जो दावा है कंपनी का सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा आराम का, ज्यादा स्पेस का, वो दावा पूरा हो पा रहा है या नहीं। सो बिफोर आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस कार, सबसे पहले टाइम्स ड्राइव के बारे में आपसे बात करता हूं या अपील करता हूं। अभी तक अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल को, और सोशल मीडिया पर बाकी जो भी हैंडल्स हैं वहां पर टाइम्स ड्राइव के नाम से आप सर्च करें, उसे भी फॉलो करें। लेटेस्ट खबरें आपको मिलेंगी, और timesdrive.in है हमारा वेबसाइट। वहां पर तो लेटेस्ट खबरों के अलावा डिस्काउंट्स और जो स्पाई पिक्स हैं, आने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, उन सब के बारे में खबरें मिलेंगी। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस स्टोरी। हम बात करते हैं BMW 3GL की। क्रांति संभव रिपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो ऑफ BMW 3GL। आमतौर पर ये वाला हिस्सा स्टोरी में बाद में आता है, लेकिन जब यूएसपी यही है तो फिर व्हाई नॉट स्टार्ट द स्टोरी विद दिस। और यहाँ पे सबसे पहली चीज जो मैं देख पा रहा हूँ उसमें कुछ बताने की जरूरत भी नहीं है। आई एम 6'3", बावजूद इसके लेग रूम, नी रूम आप देख सकते हैं कितनी ज्यादा मुझे यहाँ पर मिल रही है, यानी बहुत ज्यादा आरामदेह। आपको ये एक्स्ट्रा जो व्हील बेस है, एक्स्ट्रा जो इसका लेंथ है, वो आपको सेकेंड रो में देने वाला है काफी ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा आराम स्पेस के हिसाब से। और दूसरी चीज जो मुझे खास लग रही है, थाई सपोर्ट काफी आगे तक है, इसका बेंच जो है काफी ब्रॉड है, तो वहां पे आप लंबी दूरी पर काफी आरामदेह तरीके से जा सकते हैं। एवरेज इंडियन हाइट के लिए तो ये जगह काफी है, लेकिन ये जगह एडिक्वेट होगी, क्योंकि मेरी हाइट के लिए अगर मैं कहूँ तो यहाँ पर अगर मैं थोड़ा सा अपराइट बैठूं तो यहाँ पर ये मेरा सर टच कर रहा है, बट अगेन आई एम नॉट एवरेज इंडियन हाइट, थोड़ा सा मैं ज्यादा लंबा हूँ। तो ओवरऑल स्पेशियस, कंफर्टेबल मुझे लग रही है 2 लोगों के लिए खास तौर पर, और वैसे 3 लोगों की भी जगह है, लेकिन यहाँ पर ये जो हिस्सा है बैकरेस्ट, वहां पर आपको आर्मरेस्ट मिलेगा। यहाँ पर फोन वगैरह या टैबलेट वगैरह रखने की जगह है, और प्लस 2 कप होल्डर्स आपको यहाँ पर, या बॉटल होल्डर्स आई गेस कप होल्डर्स, वो आपको देखने को यहाँ मिल रहे हैं। ओवरऑल जो फील है वो काफी सॉलिड है, जो फिनिश है काफी प्रीमियम है, जो क्वालिटी है वो काफी प्रीमियम आपको देखने को मिल रहा है। और यहाँ पर एसी वेंट अगर हम देखें तो यहाँ 3 जोन क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल आप समझ सकते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पर अलग से आप अपने पैसेंजर सीट के लिए, रेयर सीट के लिए अलग टेम्परेचर जोन आप यहाँ सेट कर सकते हैं, वो कंट्रोल दिया गया है। साथ में 2 सी टाइप के पोर्ट्स भी आपको देखने को मिल रहे हैं। सो फीचर के हिसाब से, आराम के हिसाब से, स्पेस के हिसाब से सेकेंड रो is very practical, and I think this is the USP of this car. Gandhi Samar reporting from the first row of or driver seat of BMW 3GL. और यहाँ सबसे पहली चीज जिसके बारे में बात करना चाहूंगा वो है ये पूरा स्क्रीन का सेटअप। जो शेप है उसका हल्का सा कर्व्ड आपको ड्राइवर साइड की तरफ या ड्राइवर सेंटर।
Stories on the show tonight, viewers.
ED sends notice to DK Shivakumar to appear on February 22nd. Shivakumar alleges that ED notice is sent only for opposition. News tightens around K. Kavita as CBI arrests the former chartered accountant of KCR's daughter in connection with the alleged Delhi liquor policy scam. The drama over the stalled Delhi mayoral polls likely to play out in the apex court today as the Supreme Court is all set to hear a plea by AAP demanding court-monitored polls in a time-bound manner. Passengers waiting to board the Air Asia flight from Bengaluru to Bhubaneswar were left frustrated after inordinate delays and 4 reschedules. Passengers waited 5 hours after rescheduling.
हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं मोहुल, who is founder and CEO of Matter. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Mohul, we've already seen this bike. I still don't know what you guys going to call it right now, but hopefully, we're going to know about it in a couple of months, I believe, and more details that we already know about specifications and what you are offering with this bike. But उसके अलावा कुछ और चीज़ें हैं जिनकी डिटेल्स अभी आनी बाकी हैं. So इस बाइक को लेकर थोड़ा टाइमलाइन, इफ यू कैन एक्सप्लेन किस तरह का टाइमलाइन रहने वाला है एंड कब इसका ऑफिशियली लॉन्च आप करने वाले हैं?
Definitely. So first thing is at the Auto Expo we have also showcased the 6 kilowatt version of the bike. So at launch we had a 5 kilowatt version. Now we also have a 6 kilowatt version of the bike. And in terms of timeline, in the next 30 days we will be giving out the spec variants and pricing to the larger market. We will be opening up bookings for the Matter motorbike this quarter, and deliveries summer में शुरू हो जाने वाली है.
So एक चीज़ जो बहुत ही टेक्नोलॉजी का हूँ इंटरेस्टिंग है इस बाइक के बारे में, इसमें गियर है. इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक होने के साथ साथ इसमें वो आइस वाला आपने एसेंस और बहुत बड़ा एसेंस इसमें बचा के रखा है. सो वो कैसे आपने उस पर काम किया है एंड हाउ डिड यू थॉट अबाउट दिस कि ये अगर हम इसमें इंक्लूड कर पाते हैं गियर शिफ्ट वाला पैटर्न, सो वो कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ?
So when we in 2019 when we were starting out, we spoke to a lot of consumers. Electric bike क्यों नहीं खरीदते? In 2019 there were only a handful of players who were giving motorcycles as a product, and what we realized is that motorcycling is emotion driven. You name your bike, you work with it, you control it, you become one with your bike, and from there the common theme came, control नहीं मिल रहा, feel नहीं आ रही. And obviously once we started translating कि हमें क्या सुनाई दे रहा है और कस्टमर को क्या चाहिए, and we've spoken to over 500 customers on this. Clear indication, gear तो चाहिए. And that's when we said कि let's make something that the consumers truly want. ऐसा नहीं कि जो टेक्नोलॉजी है उसी को वापस पैकेज करके दे देते हैं. Let's make it. तो वहाँ से when the journey started, we had to make our own motors. We had to make the gearboxes, the batteries, the electronics, the entire vehicle from scratch.
And nobody would have, I believe, nobody would have thought of जितने भी EVs, two wheelers इंडिया में अब आ रहे हैं, ये गियर वाला किसी ने, I think
we are the first in India to have actually put gears on a
electric bike
or an electric two wheeler.
So I mean ये एक चीज़ है जो स्टैंड आउट करती है मैटर को बाकी सभी EVs या और भी जो ब्रांड्स ऑलरेडी मौजूद हैं मार्केट में. इसके अलावा आई हैव सीन वहाँ पे एक कॉन्सेप्ट खड़ा है एंड देयर इज वन कॉन्सेप्ट ओवर देयर एंड दिस वन आई रियली लव इट राइट नाउ. आई होप ये जिस शेप में है एटलीस्ट 70-80% इसका ये शेप वैसे का ही जब फाइनली प्रोडक्शन वर्जन में देखने को मिलेगा.
डेफिनेटली.
सो इन दोनों को लेके आपको क्या
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was fireworks in the Sansad today as Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in one of his sharpest rebuttals, demolished every question and argument that the opposition was harping on for the past few days, citing in detail how Bharat rose from the era of Bhrashtachar to leave a strong mark on global map. The Prime Minister gave point-blank message to the opposition. It's the Bharosa of 140 crore Indians that is his Suraksha Kavach for the last 9 years, and that he is unfazed by the lies peddled by his rivals. Listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's fiery attack in Parliament.
मोदी पे भरोसा अखबार की सुर्खियों से पैदा नहीं हुआ है। मोदी पे ये भरोसा टीवी पर चमकते चेहरों से नहीं हुआ है। जीवन खपा दिया है, पल पल खपा दी है, देश के लोगों के लिए खपा दी है, देश के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए खपा दी है। कुछ लोग अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए बहुत कुछ तबाह करने पर लगे हुए हैं। अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए जी रहे हैं। मोदी तो 25 करोड़ देशवासियों के परिवार का सदस्य है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के आशीर्वाद, ये मेरा सबसे बड़ा सुरक्षा कवच है। इंफॉर्मेशन का युग बड़ी तेजी से बढ़ रहा था, उछल रहा था। उसी समय ये 2G में फंसे रहे। जब सिविल न्यूक्लियर डील की चर्चा थी, तब ये कैश फॉर वॉट में फंसे रहे। 2010 में कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स हुए और CWG घोटाले में पूरा देश दुनिया में बदनाम हो गया। क्या ये झूठे आरोप लगाने वालों पर मुफ्त राशन प्राप्त करने वाले मेरे देश के 80 करोड़ देशवासी क्या कभी उन पर भरोसा करेंगे? क्या गरीब से गरीब को भी जब राशन मिल जाता है, वो आपकी झूठी बातों पर, आपके गलत गलीच आरोपों पर कैसे भरोसा करेगा? श्रीनगर के लाल चौक में तिरंगा फहराया, उसके बाद मैंने मीडिया के लोग पूछने लगे, मैंने कहा था आज जब मैं लाल चौक के अंदर तिरंगा फहरा हूं, दुश्मन देश का बारूद भी सलामी कर रहा है, गोलियां चला रहा था, बंदूकें बम फोड़ रहा था। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, आज जो शांति आई है, आज चैन से जा सकते हैं, सैकड़ों की तादाद में जा सकते हैं।
But what made Prime Minister Modi say with conviction that he has earned the public's trust? Well, he strongly believed and demonstrated that Vikas powers Bharosa. And let me remind you that India has built a $3 trillion economy in just a span of 5 years, while from independence till 2014, the economy rose to $2 trillion. Also, Modi spoke about 80 crore Indians who get free rations and the various schemes, whether it was the Kisan Samman Nidhi that reached 11 crore farmers or 9 crore people who got the Ujjwala gas connections. 47% increase in IITs as compared to 2014. The total IIMs in the country now 20. In 2014 it was only 13, which means the increase of 53%. There's also a 160 times jump in the number of internet users in 2022 as compared to 2014. The startups have gone up from 22 in 2016 to 107 today. In 10 years of the UPA era, the FDI was clocked $305 billion, while there is $524 billion in the last 8 years. But of the opposition says the Prime Minister completely and conveniently circumvented Mudde Ki Baat. Listen in to the opposition's attack after the Prime Minister's speech in Parliament.
इंक्वायरी की बात नहीं हुई. अगर मित्र नहीं है तो ये कहते ठीक है मैं इंक्वायरी करा देता हूँ. इंक्वायरी की बात नहीं हुई. डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री है, वहां पे शेल कंपनीज हैं, बेनामी पैसा घूम रहा है, उसके बारे में प्रधानमंत्री ने कुछ नहीं कहा. तो मतलब क्लियर है कि प्रधानमंत्री उनकी रक्षा कर रहे हैं, उनको.
Prime Minister just indulged in a self-congratulatory speech and did not address the issues we have raised. It's very evident from his speech. He skirted around it and just indulged in self-congratulatory praise.
मैं सिर्फ ये कहूँगा, प्रधानमंत्री ने तो बहुत अच्छी भाषण दी थी, लेकिन जो भी प्रश्न पूछा गया था पार्लियामेंट के विपक्ष की तरफ से, कोई भी प्रश्न का जवाब नहीं दिया.
The elephant in the room was not addressed by the government. I think that says it all. I think it's very obvious that what is in the minds of the people and in the minds of every member of the House was not addressed.
So the legitimate question we are asking on the Newshour tonight, who still has Bharat ka Bharosa? That's the question and the debate. Hashtag Modi Sansad Sandesh. The debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining the debate tonight, Gaurav Bhatia, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Dr. Shantanu Sen, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress, Advocate Waris Pathan, National Spokesperson of the AIMIM, A. Sarvanan, Spokesperson of the DMK. But my first question goes to Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst and supports the Congress party. And Tehseen Poonawalla, I want to ask you, what is it that the Congress wanted? The Prime Minister said it in just one line. On the one hand, you accuse the Prime Minister that his foreign policy is all wrong. India has not gone places as claimed by the BJP. And on the other hand, you say that countries are actually listening and scared of the Prime Minister and giving contracts to the Adani Group. The Prime Minister today totally exposed the Congress party in Parliament. So how do you respond to that, Mr. Poonawalla? I think you're on mute.
Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Good evening to all my fellow panelists and to all your viewers. The Most Honorable Prime Minister spoke lengthily, spoke well, spoke with passion in Parliament, but unfortunately, when I saw his speech, he did not answer a single question that has been raised in public domain, in parliamentary forums or through multiple channels like yourself where you give us the opportunity. So let me repeat the questions for the sake of the BJP spokesperson and the answers as given by the Honorable Prime Minister. The three single most important questions that this nation wants is there an apartment in Abu Dhabi where 6 shell companies from Mauritius are registered, via which round-tripping of money has come into India, thereby inflating stock prices and allowing for debt to be taken on inflated stock prices. That is the single most question. The answer to that cannot be मैंने 80 करोड़ लोगों को खाना दिया. The second question, is there insider trading? Because this is a non-bailable offense in any democracy and it attracts a jail term. The answer to that cannot be, you are jealous of my success. The third and the most important question, are undue favors given by our regulators? The answer to that cannot be there was a 2G, CWG, coal gotala. The answers to these questions have to be specific. I, for one, believe that the said group is innocent until proven guilty. But nobody so far in the last 1 week or 10 days since when these allegations have made come out and refuted this allegation. Everyone has hidden behind either nationalism or tried to divert the attention of the country. One last thing for your viewers to know. If money has come into India, it's definitely not via Abu Dhabi come into India in some bag. It's obviously come in via the RBI route. Somebody somewhere should clarify. So why doesn't the Honorable Prime Minister, like in the past the BJP demanded and got, ask a JPC, number one, and number two, have a CAG investigation. I actually proposed first by Dr. Ranganathan. So doodh ka doodh aur pani ka pani ho jayega. And I believe everybody is innocent until proven guilty. So why should we fear an investigation?
Well, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, How do you respond to the opposition's charge that the Prime Minister did not respond to pointed questions on the Adani Group?
Thank you, Navika. Navika, let us first understand the occasion on which the Prime Minister was speaking. It was a reply to the President's address. Now, he thanked the President, and after that he raised the important issues. The allegations that have been made by the opposition, one, that India as a nation is regressing. They said that there is crony capitalism and corruption. They have been making the charge of inflation. And let me make it very clear, if there was a student who was seen answering math answers in a science exam, it was Rahul Gandhi, because Rahul Gandhi forgot that he was speaking in terms of the presidential reference. Point number 1. 2, it's very important that you ask questions, but a very important thing said by the Prime Minister today was the ecosystem. What is this ecosystem? I will tell you. That when the Honorable Supreme Court decides that there is no wrongdoing in the Rafale case, the opposition doesn't like and actually questions the Honorable Supreme Court. Same is the case with Pegasus, same is the case with Vista. But if you look at the 2G scam and the Colgate scam, I must remind that it was the UPA government which indulged in corruption, and 122 licenses were cancelled by the Supreme Court in the 2G scam and 214 in the Colgate scam. So why don't you believe the institutions that we have? Now coming to the Gautam Adani group. First, let me answer on behalf of the Bharatiya Janata Party, since we are the ruling party. 1. Has the finance minister spoken on the issue? Yes, she has. She has said that there are statutory bodies and these statutory bodies are looking into the whole issue. What has the RBI said? RBI is also saying we are seeing the exposure of the SBI and other banks. What has the SEBI said? SEBI has clearly stated that we are seeing the volatility in not just this one group but other groups also. What has the LIC said? LIC has clearly said that we have invested around 32,000, which is of 56,000 value right now, and the investors' money has actually grown. And same is the case with SBI, which says their exposure is below 1%. What does it show? The government has done its job. But now I want to ask a question to Tehseen. And Tehseen is the 9th spokesperson from the Congress or a leader who has not answered. I am sure he will also not answer. Rahul Gandhi on the floor of the House, Navika, said there is a rule that has been violated by the Modi government in favoring Adani Group. Rahul Gandhi couldn't answer, and we don't expect it from Rahul Gandhi. But you are the 9th spokesperson. Can you tell the nation which rule has been flouted? What is the illegality? Please tell.
So I actually did not want to make this personal about the airport issue, but Gaurav Bhatia, I will just in the next 30 seconds, will be pleased to draw the attention to the Niti Aayog letter to the most honorable Prime Minister and PMO stating that the operations cannot be given to the said group. But let me ask once again, Gaurav Bhai, a very, very specific question. The question is that in 2G, that is, so Niti Aayog was operating under what rule under your government? Was Niti Aayog making up things? Is that report fictitious? Times Now is reported on that report. Come on, Gaurav Bhai.
Allow me to come in. Allow me to come in before you go to the Niti Aayog report. Yes. The allegation that was made was that, and this was said, that GVK actually was scared by CBI and ED and that they were forced to give the Mumbai airport to Adani. May I draw your attention, Tehseen Poonawalla, to the statement made by the GVK group, Mr. Sanjay Reddy. It's there in public domain, and he says that there was no force on us. They had a debt issue. They wanted to sell. Adani wanted to buy, so they sold it to him. Now, is that allowed in the business world, in the industry, or is it not allowed as per the Congress party?
I am extremely grateful that you raised this issue, though I didn't want this to be about the airport, but thank you so much. Here is the letter just now Jairam Ramesh, even on this issue, is tweeted from from the GVK Group's lawyers, the partners in his law firm, that actually alluded to this sort of arm twisting. But I am not against the Adani Group. Let me put it out. Let me ask you specific questions. Very, very specifically, Gaurav Bhai. Please answer a couple of questions. Today, 10 days down or 8 days down when this report has come, how difficult it is for the most strongest democracy and the most powerful country in the world, led by a very powerful Prime Minister, to put in front of viewers on Navika Ji's show, forensic report, that these 6 companies that are operating allegedly as shell companies, which I don't believe are not shell companies. Their memorandum actually allows them to invest in
so
other
now
companies.
the goalpost has shifted from airports to the shell companies. Gaurav Bhatia, respond to the charge on the shell companies. Okay.
Second thing. Gaurav Bhai, the most powerful country in the world and the most democratic country, why can't it put before the viewers that Mr. Adani's older brother was not involved in insider trading? You have the forensic report. RBI certainly has a report of the trading of those days. Put it out before us. Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani. If you don't want to put it here, do it in a JTC.
Okay.
But let Mr. Adani also.
All right, Gaurav Bhatia responding to you. Just hold on. Yes, Gaurav Bhatia ji.
Yes. मैं चाहता हूं आज दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी भी हो जाए और साथ में विष अलग हो जाए, और विष जब अलग होगा तो राहुल गांधी भी अलग ना हो जाए कहीं. I will answer your question, but I also have a condition. Once I answer, then you will also answer a question that I will pose. Or do you want to go first? Tell me. Will you answer my question?
Well, there are other panelists from other political parties. So, yes. Gaurav Bhatia, please respond to that question and let me get in the other parties.
Yes. I will respond first and then I will ask a question later. You know, they talk about shell companies. Are you aware, Navika? And I will answer what we have done also, but I'm just contrasting what used to happen under the Congress. Priyanka Vadra Gandhi had 3 DINs. Now, DIN is a very specific number to identify a director. Why was Priyanka Vadra Gandhi having 3 DINs, which he only later surrendered when Modi ji came to power, and mother-in-law of Priyanka Vadra Gandhi having 2 DINs? You know why? Because they were operating through shell companies. Now, coming to your question, look at the SEBI press release. What does it say? Do you know? On 4th of February 2023, SEBI makes it very clear. 4th of Feb 2023, SEBI makes it very clear. SEBI is committed to ensuring market integrity and they are looking into the issue that Rahul Gandhi spoke about. But 2.5 lakh shell companies have been deregistered after demonetization by Modi ji. And Robert Vadra was operating a shell company, and even AJL was taking loans from a shell company. So please don't talk about shell companies. Modi ji is synonymous to honesty. He is one person India believes in, not Rahul Gandhi, who is facing corruption charges and is out on bail, like Sonia Gandhi and Robert Vadra.
Well, so let me get in. Let me, 1 minute, Tehseen. No, you'll have to wait for your turn. Dr. Shantanu Sen. No, Dr. Shantanu Sen, Member of Parliament from the Trinamool Congress, joining the Newshour, and Dr. Shantanu Sen. Dr. Shantanu Sen, of course, the opposition must raise questions. But should the questions not be accompanied with facts, the violation of the specific rules, or is it a general hit and run like we saw in the past on the issue of Rafale? Every question answered, the Supreme Court has given its verdict, and in the end, what did it really amount to? Chaukidar chor hai, which also people had to come out and apologize for. Dr. Shantanu Sen, the question tonight is just that.
Navika, I am in such a place where your voice is not very clear to me. But my stand and my party stand is very clear. We demand the Interpol should be intimidated, passports should be impounded, and he should be arrested. Because we have got some bitter experiences earlier. We have seen Lalit Modi, Mehul Choksky, Nirav Modi meeting Prime Minister. and on the very next day leaving country permanently. So we have got a very bitter experience. At the same time, we have a demand when ED is so much proactive against so many opposition leaders. Perhaps this is going to be proved as the biggest scam in the century. Why ED will not start investigating against them, and why PMLA Act will not be imposed upon. These are our clear stands.
Okay.
And we demand.
Are we a banana republic, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, that we have to start impounding passports, we have to start arresting people without a charge being proved against anybody, number one. Number two, the issue of airports that they raise. Well, GVK sold its Bengaluru airport, Fairfax bought it, Fairfax Financials. Now, nobody ever questions that sale. Mumbai sale, because that goes to Adani's, is questioned. And third thing, on the one hand, they say that the Prime Minister has failed in his foreign policy. On the other, they say every country from Israel to Sri Lanka is trembling in their boots and now giving contracts from these foreign countries to Adani. Where is the truth, and can we get a perspective and a sense of proportion on the allegations versus the action the opposition is demanding?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. I've been listening very patiently to this scintillating debate. Please allow me a couple of minutes, if not 3, to get to the bottom of this as a layman, as a common man, as an Indian, not as a politician. Navika, I don't know how many on this panel would like to hear this truth coming from you, or truism. It is that we the people can no longer look at the opposition to work in national interest and confront the government on issues that genuinely need serious attention. I mean, on this panel itself tonight, just 20 seconds before I come to the main thesis, 2 of my esteemed friends have wanted the Adani passport impounded, him to be short of being arrested, JPC committee formed, Supreme Court committee formed. Put the money where your mouth is. Adani is invested in your states, Congress and TMC states, to the tune of 1 lakh crores. Why don't you suspend all those things, agreements and working of Adani Enterprises before you ask for this? That's the normal thing. That's how investigations happen. If you accuse someone, then your every relation with that person stands suspended. Put your money where your mouth is, I dare you. But now, this is not about the hypocrisy of the opposition, Navika. We are so tired. The common man is tired. Because let me tell you now, we are the real chowkidars here. The PM talked of lost decade, that of the UPA 2004 to 2014. Fair enough. But if we are to be honest, every single Indian decade has been a lost decade. That is how I feel. The tragedy of this nation is that while we are cursed with the kind of opposition we have, the BJP is blessed with it. Every single decision of the BJP that is in national interest is opposed by the opposition. And every single decision of the BJP that is against the national interest is supported by the opposition. There is no doubt that the Modi government has done some spectacular work that is in national interest. But the opposition has, far from praising it, outraged on it. Like the Balakot strike, the OROP, Swachh Bharat, Ujjwala, Ayushman, Rafale, CAA, 370 COVID vaccines, all these have been opposed and outraged upon. While all the decisions of the BJP that are against national interest, the opposition supports. Let me explain. Please give me a couple of minutes. It's so important. Number 1, we have 1830 public sector units. Quarter of them are non-functional. A fifth of our annual budgetary allocation goes in propping up PSUs. Except Air India, there has been zero privatization. The PSUs that are sold are bought by other PSUs. PFC, LIC, NTPC buying REC, Coal India, THDC and NIPCO. But who objects to them being sold? Yes, the opposition. 2, nationalized banks are rife with corruption and have NPAs totaling 6 lakh crores. But who objects to their privatization? Yes, the opposition. 3, there is no incentive for private companies to set up shops because of zero land reforms. But who blocked the land acquisition bill? Yes, the opposition. 4, average state debt to GSDP is 35%, highest in 15 years. But who supports loan waivers and freebies? Who reverted to the catastrophic old pension scheme that will bankrupt our states? Yes, the opposition. 5,
Modi's BJP was convicted of financial fraud through violating FCRA. But who supported Modi's retrospective amendment of the FCRA, thereby nullifying the court conviction? Yes, the opposition. 6. And this is important, Navika, 30 seconds. Agriculture contributes only 13% to our GDP. And yet, 44% of our 485 million strong labor force is involved in it. In the West, it is only 2%. Production to purchase. The entire chain is archaic, almost medieval. But who objected to the farm reforms? Yes, the opposition. And who supported the anti-farmer move of Modi to repeal the farm reforms, farm bills? Yes, the opposition. Navika, we will never leapfrog. Because we don't have governments that think of national interest. We are a welfare state banking on socialism, not capitalism. I repeat. Our frog doesn't leap. It remains in the well and keeps croaking that one day it will leap. One day it will leap.
The point here is, Mr. Waris Pathan, empty rhetoric and empty opposition is actually holding India back. Is it something that bothers the opposition? The same GST that was, part of the agenda of the Congress-led UPA suddenly becomes an untouchable. And the list of other reforms has been pointed out by Anand Ranganathan. The question here is, question you must, but question the things where you have some proof, you can quote some rule, but arbitrary, just for rhetorics, you just raise and stall leapfrogging of this country from the level of growth where we are and where we need to be to somehow feed the 140 crore people in this country. Why is the opposition and the government always at loggerheads? Why can't we have some constructive criticism to take the country forward, not this point scoring कि आज क्या कहा, आज शाम को क्या sound bite होगी? That's the question the people of this country are asking you, Mr. Waris Pathan.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Navika. First and foremost, let me make my point clear. The Prime Minister gave a speech which ran into almost 1 hour and 30 minutes. In the entire speech running into almost 1 hour and 30 minutes, he did not answer to any of the questions that were raised by the opposition. I think that speech was a jumla, it was a self-congratulatory speech made by the Prime Minister. Our party president had also given a speech in the afternoon. He raised certain issues. He spoke about the places of worship that should not be disturbed. He raised the issue about the minorities budget which was reduced to 560 crore rupees. He made statement on the China entering into our borders. Several issues were raised, but the Prime Minister was silent. He also said in a lighter note that had Hindenburg research been done in India, they would have been charged under the UAPA Act, but no answer on that. Today the moot question before the entire nation, as you rightly said, the nation wants to know what is going on in the country, is the first thing Adani. Adani scam is that people are worried. They have invested that hard-earned money. Ask the middle class, the lower middle class people, what are they going through? They say we have invested the money in the LIC. Suppose tomorrow Adani runs away like Vijay Mallya went away, Nirav Modi went away. What we are going to do? Modi will just make a statement that Kala Dhan bhi layenge, Vijay Mallya ko bhi layenge, Nirav Modi ko bhi layenge. But 28 people have absconded from our country, looting the banks and our hard-earned money. When will they be getting that? Nothing. No answer on that. China is entering into our territory, which is the national security threat to the country. Well, will Modi show his Lal Aankh and his 56-inch chest? Nothing, no word on China from Modi. Why is he afraid of? Why does he not take the name of Adani? So the message is very clear before the nation that Modi wants to save his friend and he does not want to save the country and the people who have invested their hard-earned money in the Adani group. So where are we heading for? What about, why does he not answer the question on Nari Samman? He spoke about Nari Shakti. We asked the question, what about Bilkis Banu? Her rapists are scot-free. They are moving in the open air. When will you be sent back to the jail? No, nothing on that. So what?
Well, Anand Ranganathan raising his hand. Anand Ranganathan on China, the army has given a statement. They will not believe the army. On Pulwama, the army gave a statement. They will not believe the army. On the Adani issue, SEBI has given a statement. LIC has given. They will not blame. They will not believe that story. What do they want?
नाविका मैं बताता हूं, अभी दूध का दूध पानी का पानी करता हूं. वारिस पठान मेरे बहुत अजीज मित्र ही नहीं है, मेरे बड़े भाई भी हैं. इनसे एक सवाल है, इतना ये अदानी कह रहे थे. आप तेलंगाना के गवर्नमेंट में भी नहीं, भले ना हो, लेकिन सपोर्टर है तेलंगाना गवर्नमेंट के, राइट? आप उनसे कहिए टिल सच टाइम अदानी इज इन्वेस्टिगेटेड, सस्पेंड ऑल वर्किंग ऑफ अदानी एंटरप्राइज इन तेलंगाना. Say block Adani from Telangana.
Adani be investigated, sir. My dear friend Anand, I am asking that question. People are asking when will a committee be formed to investigate?
Listen to me.
Let an investigation take place. Let an investigation take place. दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी, चाय का चाय हो जाएगा. But Modi does not want an investigation on that.
No, then you stop doing business with them in Telangana. Congress should stop doing business with them in Chhattisgarh and in Rajasthan. Why don't you do that? आप एक तरफ बोलते रहोगे कंपनी के बारे में और दूसरी तरफ you are saying arrest him, impound his passport.
Impound his passport. Let the country know that he will not be absconding. We will
17,000 crore के प्रोजेक्ट सस्पेंड करिए तेलंगाना में.
My friend, आप तो lawyer हैं. You want people's passports to be impounded even before any investigation is done, even before any court gives a...
Vijay Malia's passport was not absconded. Vijay Malia's passport was not impounded. He went away. He absconded. Nirav Modi absconded. Sarabde Sarab Rajars absconded.
Anand Ranganathan is responding to you. Anand Ranganathan.
On the condition.
Why not impound their passport? Yes.
पठान साहब प्लीज इंटरप्ट मत करिए. आपको पता है कि आप इस पे ट्रैप हो गए, लेकिन इसलिए आप इंटरप्ट कर रहे हैं. सुन लीजिए मेरी बात. नाविका, खुदा ना खास्ता कल प्लीज नाविका, अगर कल वारिस पठान साहब पे खुदा ना खास्ता कोई सीरियस एलिगेशन लगती है फ्रॉड की, तो इनका लॉयर्स लाइसेंस लोग कहेंगे सस्पेंड कर दिया जाए, इन पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन हो. जिस दौरान इन पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन हो रही है, क्या ये केस लड़ सकते हैं? इज इट अप्रोप्रिएट फॉर हिम टू कीप ऑन फाइटिंग?
नहीं, इंपाउंड करवाना. सिर्फ लॉयर लाइसेंस, पासपोर्ट भी इंपाउंड करवा लो.
इन्वेस्टिगेशन,
पासपोर्ट पता नहीं इंडियन पासपोर्ट इंपाउंड होगा ना.
5 seconds, allow me. Pending investigation. Let an investigation take.
Patan Saab, don't me.
Allow me to make my point. Just 10 seconds.
Patan Saab, I haven't finished. This is so unfair. आपको आपकी बिरयानी का वास्ता. Please सुन लीजिए.
अच्छा, you haven't finished, okay.
I haven't, क्योंकि आप बार-बार इंटरप्ट कर रहे हैं. अब आप बिरयानी नहीं, आपसे सेवइयां मंगवानी पड़ेगी. नाविका, सिंपल सी बात है. अगर ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन की डिमांड कर रहे हैं, जब तक इन्वेस्टिगेशन पूरी नहीं होती, उस आदमी के साथ सारी डीलिंग्स सस्पेंड कर दी जाती हैं. मेरा सिंपल सवाल है, आप डिमांड करिए अपने तेलंगाना चीफ मिनिस्टर से कि अदानी के साथ जो भी स्टेट्स के साथ चल रहा है तेलंगाना में, वो सस्पेंड कर दीजिए, सारे प्रोजेक्ट सस्पेंड करिए.
Will you raise that demand? Mr. Pathan, will you raise that demand? Yes or no?
Go ahead, करो पूरे इंडिया में. देखो, करो पूरे इंडिया में, पूरे इंडिया के अंदर अडानी ग्रुप के खिलाफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन आप करिए, एंड पेंडिंग द इन्वेस्टिगेशन इंपाउंड हिज पासपोर्ट. आई एम फॉर दैट. इंपाउंड, बट एटलीस्ट
पासपोर्ट इंपाउंड करके बिजनेस नहीं बंद करेंगे. बिजनेस नहीं बंद करेंगे, पासपोर्ट इंपाउंड करेंगे. एंड मिस्टर सर्वानंद, आई वांट टू आस्क यू, मिस्टर सर्वानंद, the question is, are we a banana republic? Should we start impounding passports of every politician who has cases against them, any businessman, who opposition raises questions about, sabke passport le lene chahiye and the law be damned?
Yeah, see, every Indian is tired and sick of the self-praises made by the Prime Minister. Apart from action, committed action, the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is the only Prime Minister of a big democracy to have not met the press so long. So many allegations are made. Why are you making counter allegations? You are not in the opposition. You are ruling this country. You are at a place where you have to take action. These allegations against the Adani group are not small allegations. They have prima facie, they are true. So why no FIR has been filed? That is the basis. Why they have not done that? And why the Prime Minister is shunning away from saying the word Adani? Is he scared of that? Does he think that if he say those words, the allegations will stick to him? This is one thing. There are several other allegations against the BJP government. The Indian government is buying low priced oil from Russia, but that benefit is not passed on to the consumer. The profit is reaped by private individuals, and the way the BJP government is meddling with the judiciary, it is worrisome. These are the important aspects which the government, the BJP should respond. The petrol prices have not come down. Who is benefited by this? It is the cronies. The cronies and the electoral bonds. The biggest scam of the BJP government, the Modi-ruled BJP government, is the electoral bonds. They are not even allowing the Supreme Court to hear the case. They are not willing to conduct the case before the Supreme Court.
Many
the
charges,
electoral bonds is the
many
way
charges
the scams,
from
the
petroleum
money
to
is,
Adani
yes,
Group to electoral bonds. Many charges coming your way. Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, please respond.
Yes. First of all, I would like to respond to Muslimin Pravakta. Muslimin itself in a party name is against the spirit of the constitution. But he is a lawyer, he is my dear friend. Let me teach some law to him. First of all, you rightly said, Navika, Adani Group is present in Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand. And when the Vasuli Aghadi was there, they gave the Diggi port to Adani Group. And also in Telangana. So, do you know, under the constitution, there is a 7th schedule, and law and order to punish for a crime is a state subject. List 2, item 1. So why is Bhupesh Baghel, Ashok Gehlot, also other CMs not registering an FIR? And please.
You are a lawyer, sir. PMLA, the state cannot investigate.
Don't get rattled.
Don't mislead the public. Don't mislead the public. Don't
this
mislead.
is not done.
No,
Navika,
not
this
right.
is not
All
Don't mislead, sir.
All right,
You're a lawyer.
Mr. Sarvanan.
No, no.
I'll give you an opportunity to rebut. Allow him to complete. Allow him to complete his point, and then you can rebut.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I
Gaurav
wanted
Bhatia,
to
continue.
teach my learned friend Gaurav Bhatia, but Sarvanan has already taught him the lesson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Please ask him to be quiet now.
Yes. We are here to do that to the
Sarvanan,
BJP. We'll do that in 2024
generally I charge a very, please be quiet, please. I charge a very hefty fee for giving legal advice, but to you I'll give free of cost. Are you aware, under the PMLA, the ED can only investigate cases which are scheduled offences like cheating, forgery, bribery, and these are all offences under the Indian Penal Code, which a state government is competent to do. So first, know the law. Don't argue with a lawyer without knowing law. It wouldn't help your cause. Second, now coming back to the AIM.
Are you aware of the latest Supreme Court judgment? Are you aware of the latest Supreme Court judgment? Which says it's a standalone offence. ED can investigate.
It can't be this way.
On standalone offences. Do you know that, sir? I am also willing to give you a free advice.
1 minute. If you are asking for an agency to look into it, the CBI will have to come in first. Just hold your horses, Sarvananji. You know, the law is, the PMLA law is in such a manner that the predicate offence will have to be registered by an agency on which there will have to be a charge before anything can happen. 1 minute,
I think it's a very uncivilized way of it.
Yes, Gaurav Bhatia, and I'm lowering all other faders. Gaurav Bhatia, complete your point.
Yes, now when OAC जी spoke, मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मस्जिद से कोई तकरीर कर रहे हैं, और मैं बताता हूं क्यों. He is a barrister himself, a barrister without brief. He should read Article 121 of the Constitution, Navika, which says any sub judice matter you cannot even discuss on the floor of the House. Places of Worship Act he referred to is a matter which is sub judice before the Honorable Supreme Court. Third, lawyer Waris Pathan should know that when you talk about autonomy, is SEBI not autonomous under an act? Is RBI not an autonomous body under the act? But these very people, Navika, earlier were saying that Narendra Modi ji's government is not allowing these agencies to operate with freedom. Now when they are saying, why don't you interfere? So there is a contradiction. Now a few things I want to point out. My first question, which rule has been violated, has not been answered by Rahul Gandhi and 9 spokespersons of the Congress. Second, as rightly pointed out by Anandji, Congress ruled state should forthwith cancel all contracts with the Adani Group and register an FIR and take legal action. Third, Rahul Gandhi showing pictures. If it is about pictures, I would like to tell you that Ashok Gehlot's picture, Robert Vadra's picture, as well as Indira Gandhi's picture with Dhirubhai Ambani, and Gautam Adani's picture with Robert Vadra, as well as Ashok Gehlot's picture with Gautam Adani is already there. Now I just want to say one thing. This does not prove anything, and my last submission would be charter plane. Sonia Gandhi flew on a charter owned by Reliance Industry in 2005 when she went to Moscow. So then should we say that Reliance is Reliance because of Sonia Gandhi's patronage?
Well, allegations have been flying thick and fast. But before I get in Tehseen Poonawalla, viewers, I want you to take a look at this statement made by the Prime Minister in Parliament today. Listen in.
कांग्रेस ने कहा था कि भारत की बर्बादी पर हार्वर्ड में केस स्टडी होगी, ऐसा कहा था। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, बीते वर्षों में हार्वर्ड में एक बहुत बढ़िया स्टडी हुई है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्टडी हुई है, और उस स्टडी है, उसका टॉपिक क्या था मैं जरूर सदन को बताना चाहूंगा, और ये स्टडी हो चुकी है। स्टडी है द राइज एंड डिक्लाइन ऑफ इंडियाज कांग्रेस पार्टी।
Tehseen Poonawalla, the rise and decline of India's Congress party is the Harvard study, and the Prime Minister was just making a point that there have been sharp attacks on him, and every time either the Congress has been short on facts or the people have discounted what the Congress has said. Is this one of those times yet again?
Just Anand, please. Just before that, insider trading is an offence under the SEBI 15G of the SEBI Act. Operating to shell companies is an offence under the Benami Properties Act by this government 2016 and 420 of the IPC, just to put that out to Gaurav Bhateji. Let me come to a more substantive issue, and I want to clarify one thing. I firmly believe Mr. Adani is innocent until proven guilty. The question out here, Gaurav, it doesn't work like this, yaar. I never interrupt anybody. Why are you interrupting?
Okay.
Doesn't work like this, no, sir. You asked me, I have given an answer. Let me give you. I have given you. Yes. So, okay, sir. Just allow me, please. Navika's allowed me. I have asked you very specific question. Is your father at home? The answer cannot be my mother's cooking food. If Priyanka Gandhi had 3 dins under your government, you found out, it's a criminal offence. You should have prosecuted her. The answer can't be we let go because we have such a big heart.
And then Anand Ranganathan, they would have said vendetta politics. They would have gone out. That's what their explanation on National Herald has been vendetta politics. So Anand Ranganathan, does this argument work? 1 minute. Anand Ranganathan, 30 seconds. I'm running out of time.
Navika, you know me. I believe in simplicity in Occam's razor, that the simplest explanation is the one that I go for. And I repeat what I said in the beginning. If, as Tehseen has said, Adani is guilty or culpable of the offences that he stated, if his passport is asked to be impounded, if the Supreme Court is asked to set up a committee by the Congress, by the TMC, by the DMK, can I please ask these states, especially the DMK in Tamil Nadu, to cancel all investments of Adani, including the world's largest solar park? Mr. Sarvanan, Adani has an investment of 5,000 crores in Tamil Nadu. Tehseen Poonawalla, Adani has investments more than 80,000 crores in Chhattisgarh. Please don't interrupt.
Yes.
More than 80,000 crores in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. Till such time that he is proven innocent.
Okay, Navika, give me a chance to rebut.
Give
me a chance to rebut.
All right, Sarvananji, will Tamil Nadu government cancel the contract?
Navika,
yes or no?
Yes, Navika. See, let the CBI register Mr. Gautam Bhatia, who's a big lawyer charging hefty fees, let him get an advice, free legal advice from a lawyer who's charging low fees. SEBI, offences could be investigated only by the CBI, not by any state government. When something happens outside the shores of India,
I'm not a lawyer. We'll put that issue out. But Sarvanan, will Tamil Nadu government cancel all business deals with Adani? Yes or no?
If the union government registers FIR and carries out investigation, if they found that this is something wrong, something wrong has happened, illegal.
Why don't you go to a court of law, my friend? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what about no specific charges on the one hand and a rebuttal from the Prime Minister? What is the real truth and where is the people's Bharosa? We'll know that in the days, weeks and months to come. Which way this country puts its faith in whom? The question tonight is the opposition being hypocritical when they raise questions about the Prime Minister, about industry groups, but still continue to be in business with them? Is this hypocrisy? Well, people will judge that as well. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on this debate. But on the other side, we have excerpts of the biggest attacks leveled by the Prime Minister on the opposition in Lok Sabha today, leaving you with that attack.
मैं देख रहा था कल कुछ लोगों के भाषण के बाद पूरा इकोसिस्टम समर्थक उछल रहे थे और खुश होकर के कहने लगे ये हुई मैं अंतिम बार बोल रहा हूं। पूरा इकोसिस्टम उछल रहा था और कुछ लोग तो खुश होकर के कह रहे थे ये हुई ना बात, बड़ा शायद नींद भी अच्छी आई होगी, शायद आज उठ भी नहीं पाए होंगे। और ऐसे लोगों के लिए कहा गया है ये कह कर के हम कह कर हम दिल को बहला रहे हैं, ये कह के हम दिल को बहला रहे हैं। वो अब चल चुके हैं, वो अब चल चुके हैं, वो अब आ रहे हैं। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, जब राष्ट्रपति जी का भाषण हो रहा था कुछ लोग कन्नी भी काट गए और एक बड़े नेता महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी का अपमान भी कर चुके हैं। जनजातीय समुदाय के प्रति प्लीज नफरत भी दिखाई दी है, प्लीज। और हमारे जनजातीय समाज के प्रति उनकी सोच क्या है, लेकिन जब इस प्रकार की बातें टीवी के सामने कही गई तो भीतर पड़ा हुआ जो नफरत का भाव था, जो सच, वो बाहर आके ही रह गया। आज भारत को विश्व के समृद्ध देश ऐसे G20 समूह की अध्यक्षता का अवसर भी मिला। ये देश के लिए गर्व की बात है, 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के लिए गौरव की बात है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है, पहले मुझे नहीं लगता था, लेकिन अभी लग रहा है शायद इससे भी कुछ लोगों को दुख हो रहा है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों में किसी को दुख नहीं हो सकता है। वो आत्मनिरीक्षण करे वो कौन लोग हैं जिसको इसका भी दुख हो रहा है। मोदी पे भरोसा अखबार की सुर्खियों से पैदा नहीं हुआ है। मोदी पे ये भरोसा टीवी पर चमकते चेहरों से नहीं हुआ है। जीवन खपा दिया है, पल पल खपा दी है, देश के लोगों के लिए खपा दी है, देश के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए खपा दी है। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, जो देशवासियों का मोदी पर भरोसा है, ये इनकी समझ के दायरे से बाहर है। झूठे आरोप लगाने वालों पर, मुफ्त राशन प्राप्त करने वाले मेरे देश के 80 करोड़ देशवासी क्या कभी उन पर भरोसा करेंगे क्या? आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड देश भर में कहीं पर भी गरीब से गरीब को भी जब राशन मिल जाता है, वो आपकी झूठी बातों पर, आपके गलत गलीच आरोपों पर कैसे भरोसा करेगा? कुछ लोग अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए बहुत कुछ तबाह करने पर लगे हुए हैं, अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए जी रहे हैं। मोदी तो 25 करोड़ देशवासियों के परिवार का सदस्य है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के आशीर्वाद, ये मेरा सबसे बड़ा सुरक्षा कवच है।
The News Hour at 9 will be right back after the break.
आ चुका है पोको X5 Pro का बॉक्स टेबल पे। अब इसको जल्दी से करेंगे अनबॉक्स। ब्लैक और येलो कलर का ये बॉक्स है, जो ज्यादातर पोको के स्मार्टफोन पे आपको येलो कलर, जो इसका सिग्नेचर कलर है, वो दिखाई देगा। Sometimes it is really tricky to take the tapes off, so let me try it with my nails. One tape down successfully. गाइज, ये जो फीलिंग है ना अनबॉक्स करने वाली, ये काफी ही मजेदार लगती है। जब भी आप कोई नया गैजेट अनबॉक्स करते हैं तो मजा तो आता है। जैसे कि यहाँ देखेंगे, बॉक्स के पीछे की तरफ बहुत सारे डिटेल्स लिखे हैं, बॉक्स के बारे में फीचर्स लिखे हैं, वो दिखाएंगे और उसके बारे में बात करेंगे जब फोन हाथ में आ जाएगा। इनसाइड द बॉक्स यू गेट दिस लिटिल पेपर बॉक्स एज वेल, जिसमें ज्यादातर पेपर वर्क और प्रोटेक्टिव केस ही होता है। लाइक आई सेड, वही मिला है हमको। यहाँ पर एक छोटा सा मैनुअल टाइप है। यहाँ पर फोन पे को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए आपको मिलता है ट्रांसपेरेंट प्रोटेक्टिव केस, और साथ में सिम इजेक्टर टूल, विच इज वेरी बेसिक। अब मुझे बॉक्स के अंदर दिखाई दे रहा है हमारा डिवाइस, जिसके बारे में ये वीडियो बना रहे हैं। उफ, वेरी वाइब्रेंट एंड पेपी येलो कलर। Just like the box, the smartphone also boasts the combination of black, or call it dark gray, along with yellow. और कॉम्प्लीमेंटिंग डिजाइन आपको फ्रेम्स पर भी दिखेगा। जो कलर आपको यहाँ कैमरा मॉड्यूल पर दिख रहा है, पीछे ये जो पैच पर दिख रहा है, वही आपको उसी कलर का फ्रेम दिखाई देगा विद येलो एक्सेंट्स। वेट की बात करें तो अच्छा है, लाइट वेट है। और यहाँ पे जो येलो है, दिस इज लिटिल बिट डल, नॉट एज वाइब्रेंट एज द बॉक्स और प्रॉपर येलो। वैसे तो मैट फिनिशिंग है, लेकिन ये जो कलर है, इसके अंदर हल्का सा ग्लिटर आपको दिखाई देता है। फ्लैशी नहीं है, अच्छा है, इसको साइड में रखते हैं, अभी ऑन भी करेंगे और उसके बाद स्मार्टफोन के बारे में बात करेंगे। पहले देखते हैं और क्या आपको बॉक्स के अंदर दिखाई देगा। यू ऑल्सो गेट अ 67 वॉट चार्जिंग ब्रेक। I really liked how they have written 67 watt here. बहुत ही बढ़िया फॉन्ट लग रहा है, कुछ डिफरेंट देखने को मिला, वरना ज्यादातर यहाँ पर नॉर्मली लिख देते हैं 67 और 80। तो ये जो इसने हल्का सा छोटा सा अटेम्प्ट किया।
You're watching the News Hour at 9.
ED sends notice to DK Shivakumar to appear on February 22nd. Shivakumar alleges that ED notice is sent only for opposition. News tightens around K. Kavita as CBI arrests the former chartered accountant of KCR's daughter in connection with the alleged Delhi liquor policy scam. The drama over the stalled Delhi mayoral polls likely to play out in the apex court today, as the Supreme Court is all set to hear a plea by AAP demanding court-monitored polls in a time-bound manner. Passengers waiting to board the Air Asia flight from Bengaluru to Bhubaneswar were left frustrated after inordinate delays and 4 reschedules. Passengers waited 5 hours after rescheduling. Supreme Court agrees to list review plea in the Chawla gang rape and murder case. CJI says a special 3-judge bench will be constituted. NIA recovers 1 poster and 2 swords during its raids in Parsoni village, after which the case was registered in the Pulwari Sharif terror module case. IT department continues raids at the premises of JDU MLC Radha Charan Seth and his close aide in Bihar. Search is being conducted in Patna and Ara. Armed personnel were also deployed for the raids. Congress workers protest against hike in fuel prices in Kerala. The protesters burned tyre and demanded the LDF government to roll back social security cess. A heart-wrenching photo of a young Syrian girl protecting her brother under rubble in Syria has gone viral on social media. The 7-year-old girl kept her hand on her little brother's head to protect him while they were under the rubble for 17 hours. Another miraculous rescue in Turkey. A 3-year-old boy pulled from under the rubble of an apartment building in a Turkish city that was badly affected by a devastating earthquake.
You were watching the News Hour at 9. Stay tuned.
mm एक्स्ट्रा, लंबा व्हील बेस, सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा जगह। यह है कहानी BMW 3GL की। नमस्ते टाइम्स ड्राइव फैमिली, आई एम क्रांति संभव। वेलकम टू द फर्स्ट ड्राइव रिव्यू ऑफ BMW 3 सीरीज GL यानी ग्रैंड लिमोजीन, जो ऑब्वियसली रेगुलर 3 सीरीज से ज्यादा लंबी है व्हील बेस के हिसाब से। कुछ एक चेंजेस इसमें हुए हैं, तो इस वजह से ये हम वीडियो कर रहे हैं उन चेंजेस के बारे में बताने के लिए और ये भी जानने के लिए कि जो दावा है कंपनी का सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा आराम का, ज्यादा स्पेस का, वो दावा पूरा हो पा रहा है या नहीं। सो बिफोर आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस कार, सबसे पहले टाइम्स ड्राइव के बारे में आपसे बात करता हूं या अपील करता हूं। अभी तक अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल को, और सोशल मीडिया पर बाकी जो भी हैंडल्स हैं वहां पर टाइम्स ड्राइव के नाम से आप सर्च करें, उसे भी फॉलो करें। लेटेस्ट खबरें आपको मिलेंगी और timesdrive.in है हमारा वेबसाइट, वहां पर तो लेटेस्ट खबरों के अलावा डिस्काउंट्स और जो स्पाई पिक्स हैं, आने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, उन सब के बारे में खबरें मिलेंगी। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस स्टोरी। हम बात करते हैं BMW 3GL की। क्रांति संभव रिपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो ऑफ BMW 3GL। आमतौर पर ये वाला हिस्सा स्टोरी में बाद में आता है, लेकिन जब यूएसपी यही है तो फिर व्हाई नॉट स्टार्ट द स्टोरी विद दिस। और यहाँ पे सबसे पहली चीज जो मैं देख पा रहा हूँ उसमें कुछ बताने की जरूरत भी नहीं है। आई एम 6'3", बावजूद इसके लेग रूम नी रूम आप देख सकते हैं कितनी ज्यादा मुझे यहाँ पर मिल रही है, यानी बहुत ज्यादा आरामदेह। आपको ये एक्स्ट्रा जो व्हील बेस है, एक्स्ट्रा जो इसका लेंथ है वो आपको सेकेंड रो में देने वाला है, काफी ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा आराम स्पेस के हिसाब से। और दूसरी चीज जो मुझे खास लग रही है, थाई सपोर्ट काफी आगे तक है, इसका बेंच जो है काफी ब्रॉड है, तो वहां पे आप लंबी दूरी पर काफी आरामदेह तरीके से जा सकते हैं। एवरेज इंडियन हाइट के लिए तो ये जगह काफी है, लेकिन ये जगह एडिक्वेट होगी क्योंकि मेरी हाइट के लिए अगर मैं कहूँ तो यहाँ पर अगर मैं थोड़ा सा अपराइट बैठूं तो यहाँ पर ये मेरा सर टच कर रहा है, बट अगेन आई एम नॉट एवरेज इंडियन हाइट, थोड़ा सा मैं ज्यादा लंबा हूँ। तो ओवरऑल स्पेशियस कंफर्टेबल मुझे लग रही है 2 लोगों के लिए खास तौर पर, और वैसे 3 लोगों की भी जगह है, लेकिन यहाँ पर ये जो हिस्सा है बैकरेस्ट वहां पर आपको आर्मरेस्ट मिलेगा, यहाँ पर फोन वगैरह या टैबलेट वगैरह रखने की जगह है, और प्लस 2 कप होल्डर्स आपको यहाँ पर, या बॉटल होल्डर्स आई गेस कप होल्डर्स वो आपको देखने को यहाँ मिल रहे हैं। ओवरऑल जो फील है वो काफी सॉलिड है, जो फिनिश है काफी प्रीमियम है, जो क्वालिटी है वो काफी प्रीमियम आपको देखने को मिल रहा है। और यहाँ पर एसी वेंट अगर हम देखें तो यहाँ 3 जोन क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल आप समझ सकते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पर अलग से आप अपने पैसेंजर सीट के लिए, रेयर सीट के लिए अलग टेम्परेचर जोन आप यहाँ सेट कर सकते हैं, वो कंट्रोल दिया गया है। साथ में 2 सी टाइप के पोर्ट्स भी आपको
Good evening and welcome. You're watching the Newshour agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. For the last week, the Prime Minister has been under attack over the Adani Hindenburg report and the allegation that Gautam Adani and his companies benefited from their association with the Prime Minister since his early days in politics. Today, the Prime Minister finally spoke, but he did not join issue with Rahul Gandhi or any of the opposition parties for that matter. Instead, what he did do is that he took the fight to the Congress and essentially told them that he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, least of all his political opponents. Because to all the charges hurled at him, he has one shield as an answer. The shield of people's trust, which serves as a Suraksha Kavach. Further, while reminding other parties of their own tryst with corruption and crony capitalism, he seemed to suggest that most of the criticism now is not constructive but compulsive in nature and is born out simply of anger, hatred and rage. A rage at the country's progress and a rage at the own electoral rejection of all parties that now sit in the opposition. But most of all was the assertion that charge or no charge, he has the people's unwavering faith in him, a faith that he hasn't bought or fabricated but has earned through his blood, sweat and tears.
मोदी पे भरोसा अखबार की सुर्खियों से पैदा नहीं हुआ है। मोदी पे ये भरोसा टीवी पर चमकते चेहरों से नहीं हुआ है। जीवन खपा दिया है, पल पल खपा दी है, देश के लोगों के लिए खपा दी है, देश के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए खपा दी है। क्या ये झूठे आरोप लगाने वालों पर मुफ्त राशन प्राप्त करने वाले मेरे देश के 80 करोड़ देशवासी क्या कभी उन पर भरोसा करेंगे? क्या गरीब से गरीब को भी जब राशन मिल जाता है, वो आपकी झूठी बातों पर, आपके गलत गलीच आरोपों पर कैसे भरोसा करेगा? कुछ लोग अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए बहुत कुछ तबाह करने पर लगे हुए हैं, अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए जी रहे हैं। मोदी तो 25 करोड़ देशवासियों के परिवार का सदस्य है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के आशीर्वाद, ये मेरा सबसे बड़ा सुरक्षा कवच है।
The Congress in particular was left unimpressed. They asked why the Prime Minister goose-stepped around the issue and the name of Gautam Adani. And if there is nothing to hide, why not order a JPC already? Two parties even staged a walkout from Parliament on the issue, alleging that the Prime Minister was only trying to obfuscate and divert the issue of impropriety by the business group while remaining quiet on his own alleged connections.
इंक्वायरी की बात नहीं हुई. अगर मित्र नहीं है तो ये कहते ठीक है मैं इंक्वायरी करा देता हूँ. इंक्वायरी की बात नहीं हुई. डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री है, वहां पे शेल कंपनीज हैं, बेनामी पैसा घूम रहा है, उसके बारे में प्रधानमंत्री ने कुछ नहीं कहा. तो मतलब क्लियर है कि प्रधानमंत्री उनकी रक्षा कर रहे हैं, उनको.
It is our people who are getting affected. You don't have to answer to the opposition, but you should answer to the people of this country. This is our demand, and if you just want to conveniently give an ornate speech in the parliament, if you want to conveniently hide behind the national flag, then time will only have to decide.
The elephant in the room was not addressed by the government. I think that says it all. I think it's very obvious that what is in the minds of the people and in the minds of every member of the House was not addressed.
The question though is, will the skirting of the main Adani issue and charges being made against him backfire for the BJP? Has the Prime Minister, by turning the whole debate into an almost referendum on his own honesty versus the opposition's allegations, blunted the entire attack? And with no real legal backing for the charges being levelled in the Adani affair, has the Congress erred and made this into another Rafale-like episode? And finally, does the Bharosa or the clean image shield of the Prime Minister prevent any such charge from sticking to him at all? Which basically means, will this entire campaign end up being rendered infructuous simply by the PM's own image?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us now on the debate, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ravila Sridhar Reddy, spokesperson of the BRS, Kamar Zaman Chaudhary, leader of the Congress. My first question is Riju Datta, spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. Do you think, Mr. Datta, that the Prime Minister has actually played a smart hand by making this about his own image? Remember, the last such campaign that we saw was that of Chaukidar Chor Hai after the Rafale deal. What happened in the Rafale deal? On the 14th of November 2019, the Supreme Court for the second time dismissed review petitions against its verdict on grounds that they lacked merit and reiterated its clean chit to the Modi-led government. What did the Supreme Court say? That these pleas are without any merit and we do not see any substance in the demand to register an FIR in connection with the 58,000 crore deal. This roving campaign seems to be heading the same way. Mr. Datta.
Padmaja, I just want to say, I just want to quote late Srimati Sushma Swaraj ji's part of a speech which is very apt in today's argument. तू इधर उधर की बात न कर, ये बता कि काफला क्यों लुटा. तू इधर उधर की बात न कर, ये बता कि काफला क्यों लुटा. मुझे रहजनों से गिला नहीं, तेरी रहबरी का सवाल है. See, we do not want a disruption in the parliament, we want a debate. We have nothing against Modi ji, we have nothing against the entrepreneur Mr. Gautam Adani also. But let's go by facts. The fact was based on a short seller's report. $100 billion was wiped off from his assets.
Again, we are going down the same road that we had discussed over the last 1 week. Today, purely about the Prime Minister's speech, I am asking you that the PM said, or rather he did not say anything about joining issue with you on Adani. He basically said, listen, I don't even care about what you say because the people trust me by virtue of who I am and what I have done. By doing this, do you think he has blunted the attack?
at the end of the day, then all I have to say, because the Pradhan Mantri said he has made his mark not by headlines or not by media channels. So rather than glorifying or saying anything against the Honorable Prime Minister, I will just say one thing. Then there is no point in discussion anything about who blunted the attack. We are in the opposition. We will ask questions which are pertaining to the local issues, the people's issues, and which is on behalf of the constitution. The government in their arrogance can choose not to answer that, but in the parliament they are supposed to. And finally, yes, when the Pradhan Mantri says that it's the people who decides our fate, yes, it's the people who decides his fate, it's the people who decide Trinamool Congress's fate, and it's the people who will decide all the other people's, everyone else's fate.
Sanju
So let the people decide on whether there was a ghotala or not.
Sanju Verma, it reeks of arrogance that you don't even choose to address the elephant in the room.
Padmaja, the Prime Minister today spoke about positivity and, he actually nailed the negative narrative of his opponents. But I think much as I love coming on your debates, there's no getting away from negativity. On a more serious note, before I get down to the brass tacks and address the elephant in the room as it were, since Riju Datta ने इतनी अच्छी शायरी की है, तो शायरी के साथ मेरा भी जवाब देना तो बनता ही है। यहाँ तहजीब भी बिकती है, यहाँ तहजीब भी बिकती है, यहाँ फरमान भी बिकते हैं, यहाँ तहजीब भी बिकती है, यहाँ फरमान भी बिकते हैं। तुम अपना दाम तो बोलो, तुम अपना दाम तो बोलो, यहाँ अरमान भी बिकते हैं। तो ये जो विपक्ष है ना, खासकर आउट ऑन बेल राहुल गांधी, आउट ऑन बेल सोनिया गांधी, आउट ऑन बेल पी चिदम्बरम, I did not interject you. Padmaja, I don't want this man to interject me.
Okay, finish.
Out on bail Rahul Gandhi, out on bail Sonia Gandhi, out on bail P. Chidambaram, out on bail Robert Vadra, still in jail, Partha Chatterjee of the SSC scam, infamy, still in jail, Anubrata Mandal, may go to jail soon, Abhishek Banerjee of coal scam infamy. These are the kind of people who are trying to give a certificate on political morality to Narendra Modi. I will address each question and I will not take more than 30 seconds.
I will give you time, Mr. Datta, to respond to it.
Foremost, please. Let me finish, Riju Datta. Don't get rattled. I did not interject you. Now keep quiet and listen. Because you made allegations, now have the audacity to digest the hard facts coming your way. The hard fact is this. Adani's commodity trading business, it was the first time he entered into formal business, was set up in 1988 when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister and Amar Singh Chaudhary of Congress was the CM of Gujarat. 1993, Adani set up his flagship company, which is today known as Adani Enterprises. In 1993, Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, again from the Congress. Now let us come to the fact that how many publicly listed companies does Adani have? 7. Out of these 7 publicly listed companies, only 2 came up during the BJP rule. One in 1999 during Vajpayee's time, that was Adani Wilmar. One is Adani Green in 2016 under the Narendra Modi regime. 5 out of 7 companies came into existence and grew manifold under successive erstwhile Congress regimes.
Okay, fine. You've given this data. We have also put out this data. The thing is that Sanju Verma, when you have this data and you think that this is beneficial to you and it proves your innocence, by your innocence I mean your party's innocence, why not say it in Parliament? When you can say it at 10 PM on Times Now, why can't you say it inside Parliament? That is where the TMC, the BRS and the Congress are asking the people's question. They are the people's representative.
Padmaja ji, with no offense to you. No. The question Padmaja has directed at me and I think she has asked a very valid question. It is only right that I give her the correct response. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will choose to answer what he will. He will choose the time. He will choose the place. He will choose who he wants to address, who he does not want to address. It seems, no, please. It seems, apart from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, everybody has freedom of speech and freedom of expression. मतलब कोई आकर कुछ भी इल्जाम लगा के shoot and scoot politics करेगा and we have to keep proving.
Okay, so shoot and scoot cannot be dignified with a response and that too in Parliament. Riju Datta.
Can I come in? Rahul Gandhi's baseless allegations.
Can I come in now? Yes. See, the Prime Minister of India is answerable in the Parliament. He is no Superman or Batman who has come from somewhere outside. He is answerable to the people of this country on the parliament floor. So do not have so much arrogance. Number one. Stop being an Adani spokesperson, Sanju Verma. Number two. Number three. Now who's heckling Padmaja?
Yes, go on, Vijay. It's your time. Go on.
So number one, the Prime Minister is answerable. Yes, the Prime Minister is answerable on the floor of the Parliament to 138 crore Indian. He is no Superman. So you can do all your buttering, but he is answerable to the people of this country in the floor of the Parliament. Number one. Number two.
Okay.
Adani Group, I can't care less. Adani Group, my question is very simple. Why are you ducking, dodging when you have nothing to hide, nothing to be afraid of, nothing to answer also? We are only demanding a Supreme Court monitored judicial probe. Usme itni dar kyun hai?
But sir, with the greatest of respect, okay, so here's what I want to, here's the thing, that when you demand a probe or when you are asking for an issue to be addressed, that issue needs to have legs to stand on. And which is where I want to bring in the BRS. And sir, you would identify with this because here is a company that is actually based out of your state. GVK was in particular quoted by Mr. Gandhi yesterday as the victim of a hostile takeover facilitated by the Modi government and benefiting the Adani group. Here is what GVK has come out and said about the entire deal. So Mr. Modi has not addressed the issue, but actually the purported victims of this so-called, atyachar of the Modi government and the predatory practices of the Adani group have themselves pretty much called out this so-called plot as a non-plot. First, let's listen to GVK, then I will come to you. Go on.
So as far as GVK is concerned, there was absolutely no pressure on our side, either through Gautam Adani or any other agency, for us to sell the airport. We sold the airport due to our own commercial interests and on our own accord. Unfortunately, in 2020, we had COVID, and for about 3 to 4 months, the airport was completely shut, and there was no time horizon that we were getting from them. At the same time, the debt was becoming due. Under these circumstances, Gautam Adani approached me and said that he's very interested in Mumbai Airport and would like to offer us the same terms that the foreign investors had offered us, and with the condition that he will complete the transaction immediately.
So Mr. Reddy, if the dramatis personae of this so-called scam are saying that there is no scam, then what is the PM supposed to say about the scam inside Parliament?
Padmaja ji, both Sanju Verma and Riju Datta said some shayari, so I can't say shayari, but being a common man, I can say shayari se पेट नहीं भरता, अच्छे अच्छे जो शब्द है कर्तव्य पद, अमृत काल, आत्मनिर्भरता से रोजगार नहीं मिलता, युवाओं को नौकरी नहीं मिलता. वहाँ से आगे लेके चलते हुए, and this particular question of GVK, I am not GVK spokesperson whether he is right or wrong. I respect the statement given by him. At the same time, I feel sorry for GVK, and I hope the case of handing over 6 airports to Adani. I think all other 5 owners of the before Adani's takeover will say the same thing. While whether GVK is right or wrong, I don't have any business in weighing it. The fact is, without any experience, Adani's firms are handed over 6 airports in the country.
But sir, again, and GVK is not the only one.
Say anything.
Sir, hold on a second. So let's begin at the beginning, as they say.
1 minute.
You have a demand that the PM should speak about a scam. Mr. Gandhi says the scam is that business is being taken away from HAL, from GVK. GVK and HAL say no business has been taken away from us. So what is the scam and what should the PM speak about?
One thing I can tell you. I could have told you 2 things basically. One thing, there are many court scenes and very interesting scenes which I have seen in many movies after a hostile takeover, and the victim speaks about it. So I don't want to detail on it. You would have understood. Second is, I have seen a viral post on Twitter today that the chronology rather. 26 June 2020, CBI registered a case against DVK. 1st July, CBI raided them. 7th July, ED registered money laundering case and summons by CBI. 31st August, agreement signed to hand over the airports to Adani Group.
Okay.
This is not my statement.
That is true.
This kind
but
of
sir,
statements
you
are
are
viral.
saying you'd rather believe a viral WhatsApp forward as opposed to the deputy chair of GVK saying मेरे साथ ये नहीं हुआ. But you are like poor GVK is lying. Have you bullied GVK into saying this, Sanju Verma?
Padmaja ji,
Okay, Padmaja, now Padmaja, you know, this is not fair.
Padmaja ji,
I have not heckled anybody.
Okay, let him finish his point. 30 seconds more, Mr. Reddy. 30 seconds, Mr. Reddy, then Sanju Verma. Yes.
Padmaja ji, 1 minute. 30 seconds. They were given enough time. I waited very patiently for my turn. Finally, I want to say one more thing. The answer of the Honorable Prime Minister today could not satisfy the countrymen. Our worry was not Adani. Our worry was not Bharatiya Janata Party or Congress. We were only concerned about the interests of the common man and their hard-earned money invested in this group by way of a public bank or a nationalist bank or a NBFC or LIC or some other group.
Okay.
So the question is, Honorable Prime Minister, the same old rhetoric speech which is full of Atmastuti and Parninda.
Okay.
So today, I am not here to either defend or say right or wrong about GVK.
So the people
facts are there
whose
before
concerns and interests you spoke of, LIC has given a statement. GVK, I just played. HAL is the third dramatis personae. Before you respond, Sanju Verma, I want you to listen to HAL as well. Listen.
Sir's appreciation of HAL has already been much talked about amongst our employees, and it's been a big motivation, and we are all elated about the way Prime Minister has got the respect for HAL, and it is going to be a real motivating factor for all of us in HAL book. And supplying to the defense customer, the order book still keeps coming to us, and it stands at 84,000 crores, and with there are another 55,000 crore it is in the pipeline. So this will also add up to the future order book. So all in all, our operations will continue unhindered, and we'll keep growing in the years to come.
So 25,000 crores on an average in the last 3 to 4 years for HAL, and 55,000 crores is in the pipeline, as opposed to the charge that HAL is being defrauded and business being given to Adani. Sanju Verma.
Okay. Padmaja, now, this is a serious debate. I just want to say one thing. Before we move on, Mr. Kharge said that how did Adani's personal wealth go up from 50,000 crore in 2014 to 1 lakh crore in 2019? So, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, through Padmaja Joshi's show, I want to know, you reported an income of 2 crores in 2014. How have you reported an income of 15 crores in 2019, which is a 650% increase? Question number 1. Question number 2. There is Mr. B. Ratnakar, a very known activist in Karnataka from Kalburgi. He heads the Samaj Parivartan Samiti. He has said that you own assets worth 50,000 crores, and the Lokayukta is already probing that under the Anti-Corruption Act. So please, can you explain what are your sources of income? Do you own 50,000 crores worth of assets, Mr. Kharge?
It's about Mr. Kharge. Go on. Kamar Zaman Chaudhary.
No, now
if increase in personal wealth is a sign of corruption, then the same question is being asked of your president as well.
Let me rebut Ravula Reddy.
Padmaja, I won't stoop so low.
Okay, hold on. Let him answer. It's a direct question. Let him answer. On Mr. Kharge, yes.
I won't go into whataboutery about the important topic of discussion today.
This is not whataboutery. I'm making a direct allegation based on the...
Padmaja, I'm on Zoom. Please, can you please tell this lady to not heckle me? Let me answer and reply to your question.
But sir, it is a very valid question. You have made the direct correlation between corruption and increase in personal wealth. You've said if there is a quantum jump, it means that there is definitely something amiss. The same applies to your party president, if one was to take that logic. Please answer that.
Today, our Karnataka president, DK Shiv Kumar, received a notice from the ED regarding some investigation. So ED is there, CBI is there, all other investigation agencies are there. I request Sanjeev Verma to kindly direct those agencies to investigate
Kharge ji is wealth, दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी हो जाएगा.
Why are you saying that? Why are you saying that about Mr. Kharge? Why do you want him to be raided by the ED? As Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary ji is calling members of parliament Pappu, now you want him to be raided. But anyway, on a serious note, since there was a lot of shairi doing the rounds, here is what the Prime Minister said today when he was referring to the Congress, when he recited a few lines of the poet Dushyant Kumar. I want you to listen to that and then respond.
तुम्हारे पांव के नीचे, तुम्हारे पांव के नीचे कोई जमीन नहीं, तुम्हारे पांव के नीचे कोई जमीन नहीं. कमाल ये है कि फिर भी तुम्हें यकीन नहीं. माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
essentially boils down to the logic, Qamar Zaman Chaudhary, that you don't really have any legs for this charge to stand on, yet you go on and on. Is this a rerun of Chaukidar Chor Hai, Rafale Mein Chori, Maut Ka Saudagar, all of these campaigns, Pegasus, every single one has been followed by Mr. Modi's performance or the BJP's performance only getting better.
None of the allegations have been proved by an order of the government. Somehow or the other, they find a way to skirt all these probing agencies from
Actually
the probing
not,
agencies.
sir. The Rafale deal went right up to the Supreme Court twice. It went to the Supreme Court. There was a review petition. Both of them were dismissed.
Padmaja, please, can you let me reply?
Pegasus also went to court.
I am speaking last. Let me have the courtesy to reply to your questions.
Answer.
First and foremost that I want to put out here is the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister today. He said everything under the sun, but he skirted those burning issues that the country wanted to know as of today. His speech was a mix of self-glorification. He was totally playing to the gallery, and he was in fact using his victim card when he said that हमको 148-40 crore का सुरक्षा कवच है. But then he is good at what he is doing. Let him do it. But then some vital questions that are there, Padmaja. How did those shell companies bring in money into the Adani company, who has been holding strategic interest of ports, airports, of Koila, everything that is there in strategic interest in India? How did those shell companies?
Mr. Chaudhary, exactly like the Rafale deal, इसके ऊपर भी PIL दो जा चुकी हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट में. दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी will be done by the court. There is a PIL. Incidentally, since you speak of transparency, I was actually researching a little bit, and here is an article which is from the Outlook, which I hope you will not bunch under Godi Media, which says the following. Ottavio Quattrochi is the crucial link in the still wide open Bofors saga. His proximity to the Gandhi family, particularly Rajiv and Sonia, ensures that there is hardly any talk around this shadowy figure. The Bofors case has been probed in fits and starts. The Congress-inspired Joint Parliamentary Committee during Rajiv's tenure, for obvious reasons, was an apology of an investigation. That is what has been stated about the JPC into the Quattrochi saga by this magazine. Sir.
Okay.
No, Padmaja, I need to come in.
Just a second. I'll come back to both of you, Mr. Reddy and Sanju Verma. Yes, go on. Respond.
Basically, when you are bringing in the 8 crore Bofors scam as it was supposed to be, but the courts have already exonerated the late Rajiv Gandhi into this case. Having said that, now the burning issue now, how did Adani get hold of all those strategic interest in Indian ports, in airports and other mineral resources? How did it come single-handedly into Adani? Without the government's tacit understanding, there cannot be a monopolistic trade and industry set up in India, which Adani has been the #1 beneficiary.
Okay, let's answer that, because actually, factually, that is not correct, sir. There is no monopoly over either ports or mines. But let the BJP answer that. Why is there a monopoly of one businessman? Sanju Verma.
Padmaja, कई बार वो कहावत होती है ना कि आ बैल मुझे मार. And I think today that is what the Congress panelist has done. You know, it was in 2012 that the central Congress government led by Manmohan Singh / Sonia Gandhi changed the entire SEZ norms to ensure that Adani not only acquired but renamed Mundra Port as Adani Port, and within the purview of the port's business he was allowed to even expand into SEZ activities. It happened for the first time that SEZ norms were changed.
Okay, Riju Datta is rebutting. Quick rebuttal, Riju Datta. 30 seconds, he's rebutting you on that. Yes, Riju Datta.
Can Sanju Verma elaborate that before Mr. Adani acquired the Mumbai airport, it was red flagged by the Niti Aayog? But if Congress ने गलत किया तो आप भी गलत करेंगे. कांग्रेस ने अदानी को जमीन दिया, बिजनेस शुरू किया, पर चोरी तो आपके जमाने में हुआ है.
Padmaja, I need to answer that.
Sanju Verma.
Yes, I'm glad Riju Datta made that allegation. You know, I'm sorry, I'm not making any personal comments, but I love an intellectual debate, and I love it even more when the opposition panelists come on Padmaja Joshi, who does tremendous research, bina padhe likhe. GVK owned 50.5%, and the African Association, including Bidwest, owned 23.5%. Padmaja, I don't heckle.
Okay,
you
okay, one at a time. Sir, I'll give you time again. I gave you time to rebut earlier, I'll give you time again. Go on.
Thank you. 50.5% owned by GVK till July 2021. 23.5% owned by an African consortium, including Bidwest, an African company. Now GVK said we don't have the operating cash flows to service the existing debt. We do not want to carry on with our stake in Mumbai airport. So they needed 3 permissions. One from the Modi government, we said yes. One was needed from the government of Maharashtra, then led by Rahul Gandhi's Congress, NCP of Pawar fame, and Uddhav Sena. And a third approval was needed from SIDCO. SIDCO is owned by government of Maharashtra. In July 2021, it came under Uddhav Thackeray's aegis. So tell me, when the state government also approved, Rahul Gandhi, Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar said yes, GVK can sell its stake to Adani. Why are you laying the entire onus on Narendra Modi?
Okay, so you are talking only about the clearances that have come from SIDCO and from the state government. The state government will keep asking what about the clearance that was given from the center. But again, since we have already debated these specific issues, let me come down to the point and say that this matter has already gone to court. If there is any malpractice, it will, hopefully a probe will be ordered, which is what the plea is in court. I want to move on to the next issue of the day, because if you remember, Mr. Reddy, on the day that Adani was hit by the Hindenburg report and all of its shares started falling, this was quoted as an example of bloodbath proves that there is guilt, that market confidence has been eroded in Adani and now they are going to face the consequences. As of today, I want to draw your attention to how the Adani shares are faring. As of today, Adani Enterprises has gained 23.13% to close at 2,220. Shares of Adani Wilmar were up at 4.99%. Adani Power was up 4.99%. Adani Transmission was up at by 5%, and NDTV closed 4.98% higher. Ambuja Cements though closed 0.1% lower. This is as far as the market sentiment now regarding Adani stands. So if falling of shares was guilt, is this the market's stamp of innocence / confidence in Adani? Mr. Reddy?
No, I said market / we never said it's a guilt. There was a clear-cut, overvaluation of the companies was done, and entire country have seen how the public sector companies were given to Adani, ports to airports without experience. Now that is one aspect. The second aspect is here, when there was a report from an American short seller, whomever it is, when the fact of the matter is 10 lakh crores wealth got wiped out within a span of 7 days. when the opposition and BRS wanted an explanation from the government in this case and a probe in this case on the corporate
just hold on a second, Sanju Verma, I'll come to you. So, sir, again,
or the
10
stock
lakh crores
manipulation.
worth of wealth being wiped out,
is a different case.
you said was a symptom
if it comes
of malfeasance. So now if the same shares recover, what is that a symptom of? Apples to apples.
The question here is, if they are coming back, gaining the trust, that's a good thing for the country. We never said the Adani has to doom. We never wanted any corporate to doom in this country. We wanted all corporates to flourish. But at the same time, we don't go back on questioning the malpractices, favoritisms, crony capitalism, and common man's interest is the prime interest for us.
Again, it comes down, it boils down to the point, what separates crony capitalism from legitimate business practices? Or is that going to be decided by politics? And by the way, if there is malfeasance on the part of Mr. Khadge, he too should be investigated, like Kamar Zaman Chaudhary has said, Sanju Verma. Kamar Zaman Chaudhary is saying what they raid him.
Padmaja, BRS has today decided to walk out even before Prime Minister Modi uttered a single word. He made many allegations. I just want to say one very important thing. I have not said this on many debates. I've done umpteen in the last 48 hours on this Adani issue. In 2006, I was in the corporate sector and Tata Steel made an acquisition. It bought a company in the UK called Chorus. Chorus was 4 times bigger than Tata Steel. And Tata Steel bought it for a record $12 billion. And everybody said Tata Steel has taken up so much debt, it is going to go bankrupt. Today, Tata Steel is the largest steel manufacturer in the world. And we never said that why were rules bent to ensure that Tata Steel made an acquisition which was 4 times bigger than its size. We never complained when Tata Motors in 2008 acquired Jaguar Land Rover from Ford Motor Company by changing other competitive norms. We said fine, wealth creation as long as it is legitimate is welcome. Why is it that when the BJP is in power and some corporates are making money, you claim that it is by doing things which are not exactly over the road?
Kamar Zaman Chaudhary first and then Mr. Reddy. Kamar Zaman Chaudhary, then Mr. Reddy.
Padmaja, one thing.
Adani shares out here.
Okay, wait, Mr. Reddy first. Mr. Reddy, I think, wants to go first. Go on.
I was also in corporate for 14 years, from a trainee to a president of an organization.
Which corporate?
I would like to say, we are not against anybody. At the same time, a company's inorganic growth, rather of growth, which is listen. I was in ICICI Group. I was in Ambuja. I don't have to talk about my personal and yours. The question here is, when a company's growth is with the strength of a government, and everybody in the country knows that the strength of Adani is the Prime Minister Modi.
But sir, where is that narrative born out? I just quoted to you,
talk about
GVK saying that there is nothing of the sort. There was no pressure on us. Okay, sir, sometimes there are these comments made saying everyone in the country knows. How does everyone in the country know? How does everyone in the country know? Is there an FIR? Is there any, competition commission ruling?
No.
Is there a court ruling?
The question is why the government is. Padmaja, only one question. As Sanjuji said, today also we have walked out of the parliament demanding one thing only: a JPC or a probe or an explanation. Why government is running away?
Sir, I'm asking you a simple question. I'm running hopelessly out of time, but I want to ask you. I want to ask you a simple question.
Yeah.
If there is a JPC tomorrow, what is it going to investigate? There is no complaint, neither by an investor nor by any company that has been defrauded. In fact, the companies which allegedly are being defrauded are saying we have no complaints at all. Who is the victim in this fraud that has to be investigated? Who is the victim?
Can I?
Mr. Reddy. Isn't it the fact that 10 lakh crores worth got wiped off? Is it not there is a report that there is a doubt on the corporate practices? Isn't it the fact that there was a stock manipulation?
But a report, sir, doesn't automatically qualify into a complaint or an FIR. And if you read the Hindenburg report, they say, in our opinion, there was manipulation. In our opinion, so by all means, the BRS should go and file an FIR against the Adani Group. File an FIR based on Hindenburg. Why isn't that happening?
I would like to tell you,
for fraudulent corporate practices.
There are 3 companies of Adani which were overvalued when you compare it to their counterparts in the public sector. Despite the area, despite the business volumes, and despite the profits posted. So when there is a doubt, when the entire opposition wants an explanation.
Okay, so sir, here's the thing. I am being told to wrap up because we are hopelessly out of time. But again, as senior people from the corporate sector, lawyers, politicians, you would know better than I that a doubt is very different from a complaint or a case. A complaint can be investigated. A doubt, I doubt it. I'll leave it at that. Thanks very much, all gentlemen. Sanju Verma for joining me.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं मोहुल, who is founder and CEO of Matter. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Mohul, we've already seen this bike. I still don't know what you guys going to call it right now, but hopefully, we're going to know about it in a couple of months, I believe, and more details that we already know about specifications and what you are offering with this bike. But उसके अलावा कुछ और चीज़ें हैं जिनकी डिटेल्स अभी आनी बाकी हैं. So इस बाइक को लेकर थोड़ा टाइमलाइन, if you can explain किस तरह का टाइमलाइन रहने वाला है and कब इसका officially launch up करने वाले हैं.
Definitely. So first thing is at the Auto Expo we have also showcased the 6 kilowatt version of the bike. So at launch we had a 5 kilowatt version. Now we also have a 6 kilowatt version of the bike. And in terms of timeline, in the next 30 days we will be giving out the spec variants and.
You're watching the News Hour at 10.
ED sends notice to DK Shivakumar to appear on February 22nd. Shivakumar alleges that ED notice is sent only for opposition. News tightens around K. Kavita as CBI arrests the former chartered accountant of KCR's daughter in connection with the alleged Delhi liquor policy scam. The drama over the stalled Delhi mayoral polls likely to play out in the apex court today as the Supreme Court is all set to hear a plea by AAP demanding court-monitored polls in a time-bound manner. Passengers waiting to board the Air Asia flight from Bengaluru to Bhubaneswar were left frustrated after inordinate delays and 4 reschedules. Passengers waited 5 hours after rescheduling. Supreme Court agrees to list review plea in the Chawla gang rape and murder case. CGI says a special 3-judge bench will be constituted.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
आ चुका है पोको X5 Pro का बॉक्स टेबल पे. अब इसको जल्दी से करेंगे अनबॉक्स. ब्लैक और येलो कलर का ये बॉक्स है जो ज्यादातर पोको के स्मार्टफोन पे आपको येलो कलर जो इसका सिग्नेचर कलर है वो दिखाई देगा. Sometimes it is really tricky to take the tapes off, so let me try it with my nails. One tape down successfully. Guys, ये जो फीलिंग है ना अनबॉक्स करने वाली, ये काफी ही मजेदार लगती है. जब भी आप कोई नया गैजेट अनबॉक्स करते हैं तो मजा तो आता है. जैसे कि यहाँ देखेंगे बॉक्स के पीछे की तरफ बहुत सारे डिटेल्स लिखे हैं, बॉक्स के बारे में फीचर्स लिखे हैं, वो दिखाएंगे और उसके बारे में बात करेंगे जब फोन हाथ में आ जाएगा. Inside the box.
You're watching the News Hour at 10.
NIA recovers one poster and two swords during its raids in Parsauni village, after which the case was registered in the Pulwari Sharif terror module case. IT department continues raids at the premises of JDU MLC Radha Charan Seth and his close aide in Bihar. Search is being conducted in Patna and Ara. Armed personnel were also deployed for the raids. Congress workers protest against hike in fuel prices in Kerala. The protesters burned tyre and demanded the LDF government to roll back social security cess. A heart-wrenching photo of a young Syrian girl protecting her brother under rubble in Syria has gone viral on social media. The 7-year-old girl kept her hand on her little brother's head to protect him while they were under the rubble for 17 hours. Another miraculous rescue in Turkey. A 3-year-old boy pulled from under the rubble of an apartment building in a Turkish city that was badly affected by a devastating earthquake.
$110 mm एक्स्ट्रा, लंबा व्हील बेस, सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा जगह। यह है कहानी BMW 3GL की। नमस्ते टाइम्स लाइव फैमिली, आई एम क्रांति संभव। वेलकम टू द फर्स्ट ड्राइव रिव्यू ऑफ BMW 3 सीरीज GL यानी ग्रैंड लिमोजीन, जो ऑब्वियसली रेगुलर 3 सीरीज से ज्यादा लंबी है। व्हील बेस के हिसाब से कुछ एक चेंजेस इसमें हुए हैं, तो इस वजह से ये हम वीडियो कर रहे हैं उन चेंजेस के बारे में बताने के लिए और ये भी जानने के लिए कि जो दावा है कंपनी का सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा आराम का, ज्यादा स्पेस का, वो दावा पूरा हो पा रहा है या नहीं। सो बिफोर आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस कार, सबसे पहले टाइम्स ड्राइव के बारे में आपसे बात करता हूं या अपील करता हूं। अभी तक अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल को, और सोशल मीडिया पर बाकी जो भी हैंडल्स हैं वहां पर टाइम्स ड्राइव के नाम से आप सर्च करें, उसे भी फॉलो करें। लेटेस्ट खबरें आपको मिलेंगी और timesdrive.in है हमारा वेबसाइट, वहां पर तो लेटेस्ट खबरों के अलावा डिस्काउंट्स और जो स्पाई पिक्स हैं, आने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, उन सब के बारे में खबरें मिलेंगी। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस स्टोरी। हम बात करते हैं BMW 3GL की। क्रांति संभव रिपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो ऑफ BMW 3GL। आमतौर पर ये वाला हिस्सा स्टोरी में बाद में आता है, लेकिन जब यूएसपी यही है तो फिर व्हाई नॉट स्टार्ट द स्टोरी विद दिस। और यहाँ पे सबसे पहली चीज जो मैं देख पा रहा हूँ उसमें कुछ बताने की जरूरत भी नहीं है। आई एम 6'3", बावजूद इसके लेग रूम, नी रूम आप देख सकते हैं कितनी ज्यादा मुझे यहाँ पर मिल रही है, यानी बहुत ज्यादा आरामदेह आपको ये एक्स्ट्रा जो व्हील बेस है, एक्स्ट्रा जो इसका लेंथ है, वो आपको सेकेंड रो में देने वाला है, काफी ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा आराम स्पेस के हिसाब से। और दूसरी चीज जो मुझे खास लग रही है, थाई सपोर्ट काफी आगे तक है, इसका बेंच जो है काफी ब्रॉड है, तो वहां पे आप लंबी दूरी पर काफी आरामदेह तरीके से जा सकते हैं। एवरेज इंडियन हाइट के लिए तो ये जगह काफी है, लेकिन ये जगह एडिक्वेट होगी क्योंकि मेरी हाइट के लिए अगर मैं कहूँ तो यहाँ पर अगर मैं थोड़ा सा अपराइट बैठूं तो यहाँ पर ये मेरा सर टच कर रहा है, बट अगेन आई एम नॉट एवरेज इंडियन हाइट, थोड़ा सा मैं ज्यादा लंबा हूँ। तो ओवरऑल स्पेशियस, कंफर्टेबल मुझे लग रही है 2 लोगों के लिए खास तौर पर, और वैसे 3 लोगों की भी जगह है, लेकिन यहाँ पर ये जो हिस्सा है बैकरेस्ट, वहां पर आपको आर्मरेस्ट मिलेगा, यहाँ पर फोन वगैरह या टैबलेट वगैरह रखने की जगह है, और प्लस 2 कप होल्डर्स आपको यहाँ पर, या बॉटल होल्डर्स आई गेस कप होल्डर्स, वो आपको देखने को यहाँ मिल रहे हैं। ओवरऑल जो फील है वो काफी सॉलिड है, जो फिनिश है काफी प्रीमियम है, जो क्वालिटी है वो काफी प्रीमियम आपको देखने को मिल रहा है। और यहाँ पर एसी वेंट अगर हम देखें तो यहाँ 3 जोन क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल आप समझ सकते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पर अलग से आप अपने पैसेंजर सीट के लिए, रेयर सीट के लिए अलग टेम्परेचर जोन आप यहाँ सेट कर सकते हैं, वो कंट्रोल दिया गया है। साथ में 2 सी टाइप के पोर्ट्स भी आपको